Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Acceptable Comic Cast, which is just Batman vs. Devilman for now. My name is Dave Raposa.
And I'm Dan Warren.
And together we run the publishing company Acceptable Comics. You can join us every other week as we bring on guests. In between those, we do these comic streams. And this week, as always, we're sponsored by ourselves. You can visit acceptablecomics.com today for a free preview of our books, available for pre-order while supplies last. Volume 2 of our Steve Lichman book is sold out. Alone.
Yeah, big emphasis on that while supplies last.
Yeah, because we're very, very, very smart.
The books are shipping this week, thank God. But yeah, we ran out of solo copies of the book, so the only things available for now are combo packs of book 1 and 2.
That's right.
But yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna slow down this Night on Bald Mountain music, and then let's get into the comic. So as always, feel free to ask any questions you like, or talk about whatever. We have a few things that we're interested in getting to, so we're gonna do
Big
that
topics
now.
for today. We're going to talk about incels. We're going to talk about Infinity War.
Yeah, lots
Probably
of
gonna
that.
Yeah, lots of that. So if you haven't seen it, we'll give you a spoiler warning before we start. Going to talk about what is Nintendo bringing to No, just kidding. Hopefully Metroid. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I wasn't here last week because I was on an Odyssey adventure that changed my life forever. Yeah.
Oh, right. I forgot that I
Mhm.
put the stream as Dave alone.
It looks like my favorite place in the world, which is my cabin in New Hampshire, is going to fall into the ocean. By ocean, I mean the lake it's on.
Yeah, the ocean, as in not at
A
all.
lake. Yeah. But yeah, it looks like they're going to have to demolish it. So we're either going to build a new house or sell the land and buy some other place. It's a
It's one of
bummer.
those
It's a
things
bummer.
that you always saw coming.
Yeah, it's like every year I go, the kitchen is at more of a tilt. You get a little bit of vertigo because you feel like you're looking down into the water. It's going to go one
So
of these years.
just to share this real quick, so we'll recap. This is the top part is the lady yelling over, "Oh my God, Captain Char, I got something on the radar."
A Bat class
It's a
Gundam is
screen.
powered up in the vicinity of Gotham City, and then she puts it on the main screen, and
Yeah, and then
Char's
he's
tracking other possible threats to the Principality of Xeon, such as,
Goku,
Lupin the Third,
Arthur,
Goku, Arthur, Geralt of Rivia,
the killer of Blaviken, or whatever his name
the Butcher of Baklava.
is. Yep. Then Char with his rose.
hmm
And then Char sitting here again with his rose, talking
Yeah.
to some very dangerous individuals,
hmm
some individual Ninja Turtles.
He's gonna hire to possibly take out Bruce Wayne.
Yep.
They're saying you're a little quiet.
Oh,
I am that nerd. This
what
comic
am I
is our original
now?
comic, Batman versus Devilman. Not for sale, totally legal.
Hello. Hello. How are you? Dan, can you say something cool?
Hello, I'm here. We're gonna talk about Infinity War. Uh, hello,
Hey, what's up?
hello,
That should be a little better.
future Leonardo.
Maybe I'll try and equal us out.
I didn't get to see these turtles so fleshed out till now. It's feeling good.
Yeah. You
Those,
like it?
yeah, those shoulders go really well with the sunglasses. I
Yeah.
like that quite.
You like the what?
I like that quite a bit.
Yeah, General Raph.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'm pretty
So
excited
yeah,
about it. Yeah, we're gonna hop right into this. So I don't know if you guys have seen this, but that dude who like plowed through the people in Toronto.
yeah, the guy who
Is
drove
it
a car into a
Toronto?
crowd.
Was it Toronto or Vancouver?
I think it was Toronto, but I might be wrong.
So apparently he was a part of a group called incels, which are like incel, I guess, stands for involuntarily a celibate.
Celibate. So basically, someone who doesn't want to be a virgin but is a virgin, and they decide that they're going to become radicalized as a result and kill people.
Yeah, and I
That's
don't know if
apparently a
that was his
thing.
main motivation.
Apparently, this is a thing, which I'd never heard this term till Dave called me and mentioned it last night. And then we just went down this rabbit hole of researching this term. This is a thing. There's like whole forums and subreddits and threads on bodybuilding.com dedicated to it. It's fucking crazy. Bodybuilding.com, by
But
the way,
yeah, I was
an
gonna say,
endless source of entertainment.
why is bodybuilding.com like 4chan almost?
It's the greatest. Bodybuilding.com is consistently where I go to read the funniest stuff.
Like I always wonder like the people who run bodybuilding.com, like
Yeah,
do they ever look through the forums and just go like, man, what happened?
I don't
Like
know.
there's nothing to do
It's
with
really
body.
fucking amazing though.
It's like such a big forum for just anything you're looking for. Anything that
So many
guys
good
do.
ones.
But yeah, there's all kinds of insane threads on it. Have you guys
So
heard about this? Like
yeah,
anybody in the chat, have you researched all of this awfulness?
apparently
Because
it's a established thing.
yeah, I couldn't believe that there was a group that was that pathetic.
And they have all their own terms
It's
for
like,
like, like the guy that the girl gets with is called like a Chad.
yeah, hot guys
Like
who can
they
get
have
any girl they want.
all this weird terminology where like they'll take photos of themselves and think that they're not attractive enough to get a girl. So then they'll Photoshop themselves into the Chad version of themselves and point out all their flaws and be like, the only thing that stands between me and getting the girl is that, Chad has larger cheekbones. And it's like, what the fuck, dude? Like, how are you that insecure? Like,
It's the craziest
you
thing
fucking,
I've
like,
seen in a while because
it's
it's like
really,
it's a weird delusional world of people like living for too long on the internet and like not doing anything else or talking to anybody.
well, it's like, it's this weird rabbit hole because like some people in the chat are saying like I was an incel for 6 years but got laid and it was K. Like, there's a huge difference between not getting laid and being one of these dudes. And I don't understand that bridge these people cross where it's like it's everyone else in the world's fault but mine. It can't possibly be my fault. To the point where you're like, oh, I should just kill them. Like, what? Like, what? Like, you kidding me? It's just unbelievable. And like the amount of attractive women that date guys that are not attractive because that's not the only thing that matters to women is like hugely high.
That's right, you heard it here.
Yeah, like
It's
that's just a
hugely
fact
high.
of yeah, it's a fact of life. It's like yeah, looks matter and stuff, but by no means is that the only thing that matters. Like so I just don't understand where these people are coming from, where they're like photoshopping themselves into what they look like as male models to be like, if only I looked like this.
I just think
All
it's
the
so weird to legitimize your insecurities so much
yeah,
by being a part of a group and actually like giving yourself a name to the point where you're so like you've given yourself a new identity and you're like this is the reason I'm that. You know like when people who have like who don't have an addiction just go like no I'm an alcohol or like they do have an addiction but like they're not willing to get over it. They go like I am an alcoholic. Like it's like they there's almost like a weird romanticism in it.
yeah.
Like I think that whenever that happens, I'm always so like I don't know if it's the comfort of having like the group or something, or just that like like when so, like you're in a diet with somebody and they eat
Well,
a cookie.
it reminds me of the same kind of losers when Fight Club came out that would talk about being members of Project Chaos. And
Mm.
I'm like, you suck so much for saying that. Like you're in on some edgy conspiratorial, this is how the world really works, and fuck, we're gonna burn it down. And like I hate everything about that. I hate everything about you. It's the same kind of cringe that I got from those people.
Yeah, it is super weird how like you can easily just stay in a place because you just start to like actually believe you're that thing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I don't think this is real, guys. I think you came up with it. Like, I think this is something that you just decided was a thing.
I think my favorite thing that I saw that you sent me was the guy who was like, a woman would rather be hit by her boyfriend and abused and taken for everything she has and become a slave to his whims than have sex with an incel. And it's like,
Yeah, it's like, what are you,
someone,
some sci-fi space
so,
pirate?
yeah, someone
What?
actually said that. And then it's like, you never have to tell the girl that you're celibate, right? You can just like have a nice date and then have sex and never once bring up the conversation of, oh, by the way, this is my first time. That's your choice doing that. She probably doesn't know. You probably don't have to tell her. So why are you making a meme out of this whole like women would rather, throw their bodies off a cliff and be hit by their husbands and abused?
She's sleeping with a Drakenreich god
Yeah.
and not us, the incels. Like, what are you
Yeah,
doing?
incel is such a sci-fi term. It's like precogs in fucking Minority Report. It's like the precogs found the newest incel. It's a red ball. Like, what is all of this? Like,
Like, I'm happy it exists because it's funny, but not if they're killing people, obviously. But
I'm
like
imagining all the
everything else,
judges, getting suited up at the beginning of Judge Dredd at the Hall of Justice, and what's going on? Haven't you heard? It's an incel in Quadrant B. He's gone rogue.
yeah,
Oh my
exactly.
god! Like, it's what?
Yes, for anybody wondering, it is a subgroup of people that are involuntarily celibate. It's a name they came up with, and they blame other people for why they don't get laid. They,
So here's a question from Jack and Mac, which I don't actually know the answer to because I just found out about this whole thing last night. So are they only virgins or are they guys who've been laid before but aren't getting laid now?
I
Like what?
think they're mostly only virgins. I'm almost
Okay.
positive it's
That's
only
one thing I'm
virgins.
not sure about where it's like,
Maybe, I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. I have no idea.
What does that make a priest? Like a super incel?
Dude, I have no idea.
That's just like, it's such a stupid thing. Like, I hate the self categorization.
Yeah.
It's like, it's such a dumb way of being. Like, yeah, okay, cool. It'd be like if I just said, I'm just a masturbator. I just masturbate every day and
Right.
I'm never going to stop. Yeah, is it bad? Sure, but I'm a masturbator.
Well, here's the thing. So Ricardo in the chat brings up a good point because I can totally see the logic here. He says, despite their obvious difference, I put them alongside PUAs or pickup artists. That's totally, I see that because the thing that the pickup artist people that are like self-proclaimed pickup artists that talk about it all the time always do is like, you got to let the woman know she's not worth anything. You got to treat her like shit. If you're not negging her, she's never going to come back. Like make her realize that she's just an animal to you and that she doesn't matter and she'll come crawling every time. It's the same kind of like we got to dehumanize them because for some reason we're not satisfied ourselves. So I can see how you put them in the same camp because a lot of the language is the same. It's like really bizarre. Like I don't know. The self-proclaimed pickup artist dudes are fucking hilarious. I've known about that, but this incel thing is brand new.
I listened to the audiobook of that book, the game.
The game.
It sucks so much.
Oh yeah, it's
It
amazing.
was really funny though. Like, it was like all that stuff about that guy. What's his name? It's not like Spider, but it's like
It's something
something
like
like
that.
that.
Well, now
It's
he's
like some
like,
shitty magician's name. I
didn't he
can't
write a
remember.
follow-up book called Game Over and about how everything in that book is wrong and it ruined his life?
I hope so.
He did. I'm almost positive he did. But anyway,
I remember I listened to that book on a drive because I listened to a Tim Ferriss interview with him or something
yeah.
like that. And then I was like, oh, I didn't know this was like a funny cartoon book. I thought
No,
this guy
it's
was like a really good Rolling Stone
no,
like
he's a
reporter.
it's so dumb. It's that same thing as that one of the funniest things I've ever seen. And if he's listening to this, I apologize, but it's fucking hilarious, man. You just got to live with it.
I
I had
like
a friend.
that.
I
Before
had a
you
friend in
trash
college.
somebody.
I had a friend in college who, we were just big nerds. Whatever. We were in college because we wanted to be concept artists, and
Sure.
like suddenly one summer he came back and he was totally different, and he dressed totally different and acted totally different. So he started wearing leather jackets and like skin tight black jeans and sunglasses and like smoking, and he never used to smoke. And like he became a meme. He became the meme of like the Fonz, but real. He started riding a motorcycle, and him and his friends all got motorcycles and called their group the Priests.
This is
And
like
th-
embarrassing.
this is really called his
Such a
girlfriend. He called his girlfriend the Priestess, and she like rode on the back of the motorcycle. And like
oh
he
my
started reading
god.
this. The thing that was the funny part that I wanted to bring up is
No.
that he would sit in public places and read The Art of Seduction so people could see him dressed like that reading it. Like, whoa, he doesn't give any fucks. And it's like, it made me cringe so hard that I had to end the friendship. Where it was like, I can't be seen with you. I can't talk to you. Like, you did this to yourself. Like, I'm like, there's nothing I can do to save this friendship. Like, I'm ashamed of you.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah, it fucking killed me. Like those books, all those books are so fucking funny. Where it's just like the title should just be "I'm insecure" on the cover, because if anyone sees you reading it, that's all it says.
Uh, that
But
is
yeah,
really funny. The priests,
yeah, I remember that very well.
the celibates.
It's just like, well,
It's a bunch of guys riding around on motorcycles.
I have to be cool. I have to be.
Yeah, if I'm
Some of
not
it,
cool, what is this all about?
some of that made its way into our books. If
Yeah,
anyone reads them, you'll see some of that in there.
it's true.
We got to be cool. Have to be.
Yeah, if
But anyway,
if everything else fails.
thank Gears Art for hosting us.
Thank
Somebody
you.
back in the yeah, okay, Salty and M subscribe with a tier one sub. Thank you. 19 months in a row.
Thank you very much.
But yeah, so this incel thing, I don't know. I don't get it. I just don't get any of it.
No, it is exciting though to find new things. I like finding like anything that's super bizarre like that. Like I don't know. Like I was all about that with like obviously the furry one and whatever. It's like anytime that's a new thing, like that bizarre people are doing, you just got to dive all in, read everything about it.
And all this stuff we just talked about, all the pickup artist books and all that stuff. That's why one of my favorite comedians in the world is this guy, Dick Masterson. If you haven't seen his appearance on Dr. Phil when he goes on as a self-proclaimed alpha male, go watch it immediately. Turn this off, go watch it. It's the stuff he says and the way he says it. He like narrows down the language of those books and distills it into perfect phrases and says them exactly the way that those things sound, and it's fucking hilarious. But yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, people were asking for the Butcher of Blaviken to talk on a few topics last time,
Oh, I don't know if
but
we
I
can.
didn't do it.
The butcher of baklava. I don't know if we can do that.
Yeah, the Baklavavian.
Oh man. But yeah, I don't know. All those dudes are just I just
Really,
don't get
really
it.
cool. Really, really, really cool.
It's funny that it's been a thing for this long and girls still don't know what negging is. Like I've had to explain it to people before, like so many times.
I watched a cringe video of a guy doing that to a girl, and she just went, "You're a creep," to
Mm.
him, and he was just like, "Oh yeah, I'm a creep. You like creeps? Does that turn you on?" And it was just like, "What is happening?
It's unbelievable.
What is going on?"
Jackamak says, "My 15-year-old daughter is a furry, lol. She made a mask. It's almost all she draws." Hey man, it's the internet. You can't help some things.
No, I can't help some
Can't
things.
help some things.
Some
I
things are
will say that
boring.
if something happens to a kid at a certain age, it just there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you
No,
can do. Like this weekend, my nephew. Oh boy, my nephew, who's not actually my nephew. We just call him my nephew. He's my cousin's kid. He uh he wanted to show they got this new pet dog called Bruno, who's like this like bulldog pit mix. He wanted to show Bruno his pet parakeet that he keeps at his grandma's house that he taught this parakeet how to do all these tricks. And my cousin was like, don't take it out of the cage though, because Bruno's still a puppy and ha ha ha. and he takes the parakeet out of the cage, and he's like 6, and the dog eats the parakeet and kills it. And like that's gonna be a part of him forever. Like
Yeah,
that's not going away. That's in there forever. That's baked in the cake
forever. Yeah, that's just
forever.
what it
And
is.
that to have that happen and have it be your fault and to watch it happen at that age, you're done, dude. Like I don't even know what repercussions that's gonna have, but yeah, certain things.
I love that one.
Oh yeah, like I got the phone call about it asking if I wanted to go see the kid to like talk to him, and it was
You were like, for what?
like trying super hard
It's
not to
over.
laugh. Like there's nothing anybody can do.
Yeah, you're like, it's too late.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know what happened, Jack, but something happened that turned your daughter into a furry.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she fed a bird to a dog. I don't know what happens. Like it's weird because there's the true bloods, and then there's everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody else, it's like I remember being a kid and like being into really nerdy stuff, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I had like a Japanese English dictionary with like a geisha on the cover.
There
Like
you
I
go.
remember that.
Yeah, sure.
It's like I remember being lame. It's
Growing
like
pains.
yeah, and yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's like the furry thing because like there's so many things you can get into online now that like I wonder what kids are
Well, I think
wandering
like
into because it's like half of being a furry is like a fetish,
well the
and
thing
the
I
other
think there's
half is like fun. I like Disney.
I think there's like a slope to becoming a furry. There's like a hill that you roll down slowly because like the artwork is obviously very kid friendly, and
Sure.
there's like different gradients of being a furry where it's like there's the weirdos on DeviantArt that just write stories of their characters and draw pictures, and then there's like if you're into Sonic the Hedgehog you can become a furry in like 2 seconds
Yeah.
because like the number of overlapping subgenres that get to furry is so reduced if you're a Sonic fan. It's like a shortcut.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think it's all just internet subgroups. Some really great Mr. Medicare videos on those communities that I just love. He did a whole series called Deviants of just DeviantArt people.
Yeah. There's some good ones in there.
Is Rambaral in this comic? Asks I am that nerd.
I honestly don't even know who Rambaral is,
I gotta look that up.
but if the quality's there, you better believe it. Everybody's involved in this comic.
Oh, Rambaral's the guy with the mustache from the Principality of Xeon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I didn't actually know that.
I
I
didn't.
don't know like anything about Gundam.
I know Char and Domon Kashu, and that's it.
Yeah, I think we watched the entirety of G Gundam and that was it.
Oh, you think we did? You mean
I'm
we
just I'm
we
just saying we
absolutely
did,
did?
and that was the
Yeah.
end of our Gundam experience.
Mhm.
That's the beginning and the end. Jackamak, I said the biggest worst thing to happen to her was a divorce, and that was 7 years ago.
Mhm.
Yes, but lots of people get divorces. That's very common. Furries, I think, are still pretty minority. You'll only know if it's real, I think, like if they're like in their 20s, right? What is the bar? Like where does it stop being like fun and
What?
start being like a lifestyle? Furries.
The, oh, puberty.
But like okay, so
Yeah, once it becomes a necessary component of getting off, like once sex is a thing that's unavoidable to your body and the furry thing is a part of that, you're done. There's no getting out of it once that switch flips.
yeah, I wonder.
Yeah, that's my theory is that if you get into that stuff around that age, it's there forever.
I think that there's like a difference though, because there's like some people that are just I don't know. Like I feel like some people get into that stuff because they have like that weird social thing. Like we both know that dude who was like a forever child
Mhm.
and he was into like super too into anime porn,
Right.
which led him down dark paths.
Yes.
But like, I don't know. Strange. Did you know the guy that made Rurouni Kenshin? He only got fined like $2,000 or something for having like tons of child porn.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
Yeah. How crazy is
Wow.
that?
Is that like not like a felony level thing in Japan?
I honestly don't know. I just saw like the article about it and I was blown away. I was
Whoa.
like, "What?
That's horrifying.
You're into feudal Japan samurai battles and child
Yeah,
pornography?"
that's not that much of a stretch. I can see it.
Can you see it?
Thinking about Rurouni Kenshin, I can see the guy who made that being a fucking weirdo.
It's just incredible. And he's like, "Stop." Like, what's crazy to me
He
is that
turned his blade around.
it's like Jared Fogle will never go back to selling subs.
I mean, I don't know. Fucking, it's not a pedophile, but Charlie Rose is trying to make a talk show where he talks to other sex offenders.
Charlie Rose?
Yeah,
Charlie Rose is a sex offender?
yeah. You remember the Me Too thing?
Oh, okay. Is he a
Yeah,
convicted sex offender or
yeah.
is he just in
I,
trouble?
I don't know, but he's trying to pitch a show now. He got removed from his network. He's trying to pitch a talk show where he interviews other guys that got in trouble.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, oh,
I mean, that's pretty crazy.
I'd watch that.
But
Like don't give it to him, but I'd watch it.
but
Like,
okay. But here's the thing: is that Veroni Kenshin guy? He so he's not gonna go to jail. He's just gonna pay money, and then he's getting back into the comic like now.
mhm.
Like he's just getting back into the comic. It's
Wow.
just so funny to me. I don't know why that makes me laugh so
I'm
hard.
gonna have to read about this.
But
That's fucking weird.
but just like imagining like everybody knows, everybody knows, and let's just get back to work, guys. Come on.
I want to hear what the defenders of him say, where it's like, yeah, you know, it's bad, but we got to know what happens in the Warring States period. I don't know.
Yeah, that's definitely what it is. Come
That's
on.
come on, guys.
Sure, it was wrong. We all know it was wrong.
Dirty Dexter says Dick Masterson, quality human being. What I don't get is how he goes from believing the things he believes to being obsessed about them that he created an entire life around them. Yeah, it's performance art. It's he created a character and he fully embodies the character, and like that's he's not the first person to do that.
Yeah, it's like you can't, you
It's
know.
like when I found out when I was a kid, when I found out that Andy Kaufman boxed women as a joke, and like the women
I,
weren't in on the joke.
dude, when I was a kid, my dad showed me all that stuff.
Yeah,
I laughed so hard as a kid.
yeah, me too.
I thought that was one of the greatest things.
When my mom explained to me that the women weren't in on the joke, but it was a joke, and he was boxing women as part of this like character thing. I was like 7, I think. That was so fucking funny to me. Just trolling before the term trolling existed.
Like I loved him getting so worked up in the ring. Like,
Yeah,
come on. It's like,
yeah, it's so funny. But yeah, it's the same. It's the same thing. Obviously, what was the name of his other character? The like lounge singer guy with the mustache, who just like shit on everybody all the time.
I don't know.
Tony Clifton.
Oh, yeah.
That's what Dick Masterson is, because that's exactly what Dick Masterson is. It's a Tony Clifton character. But yeah.
Yeah, it's funny.
Question question to Daniel of Danger Room: heavy cream or rare cream? I mean,
Heavy.
heavy cream. What do you? Is that even a
I
question?
have heavy cream. Like, and by the way, for all the creamamites out there,
Hmm.
um, don't put heavy whipping cream in your coffee or just use heavy
No.
whipping cream for anything. Get the
Yeah.
pure heavy cream.
Hmm.
Big, humongous difference. You might not see heavy cream in your store, but ask for it by name.
Yes.
It's real and it's a lot better. And
And
it's
also,
in my coffee.
if you're gonna put cream in other things, make sure it's not flavored.
Yeah, no flavored cream, only the
When I was
pure.
a kid once, my dad made a macaroni and cheese casserole with butterscotch cream, and we all sat down to dinner and ate it. And I puked. And he did the thing where he's like, "It's actually pretty good." Like he was trying to like save face.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's
Like one
so
morning
gross.
when my mom was out of town, he made a cinnamon toast to take to school, and he can't read because he's blind, and he covered the toast in cumin.
Ew.
What are some other ones? He made pineapple Alfredo once. He was trying to just use. He was like, "Oh, pineapple will go good with like Hawaiian pizza, like cheese and
Yeah, of
pineapple
course.
with its
The
Alfredo."
tang.
No, no.
Ew. That
Yep.
sounds insane.
Oh, it's the fucking worst. Fucking absolute worst.
Ugh.
Brandon J. Crone subscribed for 2 months in a row. Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you, you beautiful Brandon.
Love you.
And Andrew Gibbons art subscribed for 2 months in a row. Love you. Thank you
Love
so
you.
much.
Wow, learning a lot about Japan from the chat. I am that nerd says age of consent is 15, and above that, it's nowhere near as big of a crime as it is in the U.S. Jeez,
Yeah, I have no idea.
jeez. Someone's asking if you're including Metalhead.
Maybe. Depends how we go.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew
It,
Gibbons with his subscription says my friend got into the pickup artist stuff for a while. One girl tried to give him a blowjob in the middle of a dance floor in a club, but he couldn't get it up. So she was just nomming on his flaccid wang. And then he said these Ninja Turtles looking sick.
Nomin on a flaccid wang.
That sounds like a
Bob
Neil
Dylan
Young
lyric or
song.
something. Yeah, sounds like a folksy Neil Young, Bob Dylan lyric. Nomin on
Yeah.
a flaccid wang.
I mean, it has the darkness of a Bruce Springsteen song because it's in the
I've
middle of a
been
dance floor and he can't get hard.
nomming on a flaccid wang. Yeah, I guess it is kind of Neil Young.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm getting old. uh, that's great.
Yeah, it's definitely
Nothing
Neil
is
Young.
funnier. Nothing is funnier than people putting on that pickup artist persona and then not being able to deliver. That's the funniest one too to me, like ever.
I know. That's what the cringe videos that I like are.
Oh,
Like
it's so
guys trying to
great.
be like smooth and you're like, no, stop.
The publisher of the Rurouni Kenshin comics says they only brought it back for the fans. The
Not for
fans
the
who are
justice.
the fans who are the age that the creator is into. Oh
They only brought
man,
it back for the fans. It's for the fans.
that's great.
Come on, guys.
Sorry, was cooking. I've personally done furry art commissions when I was in college. Do you remember back when concept art was a thing?
Are
When
we
that
going to
one,
talk about the porn drawings?
we're gonna talk about the specific guy that commissioned like
All of us.
five of our friends. The kangaroo guy.
Oh.
So this one guy
Yeah, I
commissioned.
actually forgot about him. I thought you were going to talk about the
Yes.
Metal Gear Solid guy and then
No,
the
no, no,
guy
no,
with the
no.
girl.
This one guy back when conceptart.org was a thing would look for up and coming artists who were good but not high profile enough that they would expose his weird like fetish requests. And he'd find artists that like needed money and were good enough to execute on like a commission, but not high profile people. And everybody was like people agreed to do the jobs. And like I
Money.
think did you do
Oh,
one?
I absolutely did.
Yeah, Sam did one, I think. I think maybe Miles. I can't remember who else, but
And this
e-
isn't, by the way, before Dan continues, this
yeah.
isn't an uncommon thing where
No.
multiple artists all get hired by the same pervert.
Well, the common one is here's a low res photo of my wife. I want to give her a painting of her in like a sexy BDSM outfit for her birthday because we're kind of kinky. And then you're like, why don't you have a high res photo of your wife? This isn't your wife, is it? This is some chick that you work with that you want to fuck and you're paying me to make porn of her. Like
Hold on
that
a
was
second.
the huh?
I'm just walking away for a second.
That was the really common one that like happened all the time was like here's a low res photo of my wife from across the parking lot. Can you paint her like a sexy pinup? But this one specifically was a guy who said he was making a video game with numerous quotes around that. And he was asking people to paint him a topless, half kangaroo, half woman with like extra detail on the prompt about like the way the pouch needed to look. So like everybody who did the job basically never talked about it because they were like ashamed, and then it came out, someone started talking about it on a stream, and then it came out that he'd commissioned like tons of people to do this same thing.
Oh, I knew he did it like when I was doing it. I just started telling people about it. I was like, I'm doing this job. And they're
So
like,
fucking
I
funny.
am also doing that job.
Yeah, he also hired all of us to do that job.
Yeah. It wasn't like something that came out, for, at least for me. Like, I knew everybody
That's
was doing
so
it.
fucking funny to me. I
And
remember that one live stream we did where everybody found out everyone else was doing it.
yeah, it was, yeah, really crazy.
I
That
love it.
dude was, he was like really specific too. Like, he was like super into his world that he created. It was so strange. I was like it wasn't really like a furry thing. It was just
No, it was fucking weird.
like a weird, like she lost her legs and like was genetically experimented on and turned into a kangaroo lady with kangaroo mechanical legs.
From the waist down, though.
Yeah, from the waist down. From the waist up, her tits are out. So
Yeah.
hell yeah, dude. So
And all the detail about like you got to get the mucus in the pouch correct. And it's like,
yeah, it's just so dark.
sure about that?
It's cool though, you know.
I love that.
That's my favorite thing about not working on just like free client stuff. It's like people who are wandering out there in the wastelands. You don't have to do any more of that. Don't have to do any more of the Metal Gear. Like, I'd be struggling for money, and then somebody would reach out and be like, "Can you draw Meryl naked?" And I go,
Oh yeah.
"Oh, yes."
Sure I can. Yeah.
Fuck. Yes, I guess I have to.
Yeah, I think John Silva was one of the other people that got hired to do it.
Yeah, sure.
Hmm.
Yeah, the most awful one was the one of like the, hey, my girlfriend, I want to get her a present, her naked in a
That's yeah,
painting.
that's my favorite one where
You
it's
go,
like
what?
here's the low res photo of my wife from across a parking lot.
It's like,
It's like,
hey, there's a girl I found. I want to see what she looks like naked, but I don't have
yeah,
a picture of it. Hey, can you draw it?
it's like unbelievably transparent that you're just hiring someone to make porn of a woman you don't talk to.
It's like, oh, cool. Sure, incel.
Yeah, incel.
Found you.
Incels don't have the resources to hire artists to make porn for them.
No, I know. It's part of their plight.
Oh God, can you imagine being a woman and finding out that someone hired an artist to make porn of you?
No.
Can you like what is that realization?
Can you
Like,
imagine, like, best case scenario that this guy actually does end up winning her over and she finds drawings
yeah,
from years ago
right?
from artists that obviously aren't him because he's not one?
Oh man.
No, I can't
Yeah,
actually
that's
imagine.
like the darkest thing
It is a
ever.
good twist in a horror movie to be looking at
Yeah,
somebody's computer and seeing nude pictures of yourself as a cartoon.
it's the end of What Lies Beneath. Then you turn around and Harrison Ford is like, "Honey, I can explain. You've been lying to me all this time. It was just pictures.
You go,
I didn't know you
well,
felt the same way about me."
you're like, well, I can tell that you didn't lie to me, but I don't know what this is. It's not a lie.
Remember how
It's
much he
just
paid
not
you?
good.
Someone wanted to know.
Do I remember? I honestly don't. It must have been decent because I
I
wouldn't have
think
done it.
I think I got that offer and I didn't do it, but I think it was like 250, which back then was like decent for someone who didn't have any experience.
I know it ended up being a lot because I did like more than one character concept for the kangaroo guy, not just of the
Right.
kangaroo girl. I did like other characters in his universe. It was like in the same way that like a hentai movie or hentai will have like, like a scientist and shit like that that don't get naked.
Oh yeah,
It's like
sure.
that kind of
Sad.
thing.
You gotta flesh out the world to make it
Yeah.
believable. You gotta
Yes.
get that lore going.
Exactly. He had that going
Uh,
on in his story. It was hot. It was super hot.
At a convention here, a guy once asked an artist friend to draw him and his girlfriend fucking as Deadpool and Batgirl.
Hmm.
Well, that's the worst.
I mean, I believe it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I yeah. I don't get like embarrassed from things like that. Like things like that don't bother me,
I
but
mean,
I get sad for like the person.
yeah, me too.
So I feel like I don't know, like just extreme sadness for them.
If Vespero says
It's so
250, is this
dark.
guy around? I don't think he's around, but I can guarantee if you go on the like looking for commissions thing on DeviantArt and you say, I will draw your fetishes and set prices, you'll get a lot of requests. So go do that and then come here
Oh,
and tell us what those are.
he asked the artist to draw her fucking him as Batgirl.
Oh, oh, never mind.
Isn't
That was
that
way worse than I thought
actual
it was.
harassment? Can't you get in trouble for that?
It is sexual harassment. Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
that's a crazy thing to do.
You remember that guy we were
Yeah, I was
tabling
about to say that.
across from who had
Yeah.
the super high pitched voice?
Yeah, that artist who got like kicked out,
Yeah, and they were like,
right?
"Come on, man, you gotta go." And he was like, "I didn't do it. Just a liar." And they're like, just get out."
Yeah, he's like an artist that was really notorious at the cons, or at least like that's what everybody told us. We don't
Yeah.
know his name or anything, but he apparently was like doing all kinds of gross shit to people.
If you see a guy who looks like Toad from X-Men First Class, or whichever one had Toad in it, Days of Future Past,
Whichever one I
with
told it.
the big wide mouth and a ponytail, that's him.
Right. That is what he looked like.
Yeah, we were laughing super hard because we were trying to figure out what he looked like for so long, and then we were like, "Oh, it's Toad!
Right.
It's Toad from fucking whichever one had the military in it. Probably Days of Future Past." But yeah,
Yeah. The convention stuff is strange because there's so many weirdos.
oh yeah, it's crazy.
Like you get all kinds of uncomfortable people. I mean, like it's good. I mean that's like the minority of them,
Hmm.
but they stand out. Kind of like negative comments stand out.
I just love the ones that try to commission people to draw them their fetish, and then they say no, and then they get mad and like post online about it. I
Yeah.
offered him perfectly good money to take my request, and he said no. And it's like, yeah, because it was probably something insane.
Yeah, I was always weirded out by like artists that uh at like con stuff or
Mhm.
like any kind of meetup thing when you'd like find out later that somebody took something like that like really personally
Oh,
and
I
you're like,
know.
"What? I don't even remember this happening."
Yeah, people have sent me like I'm not gonna say who it is because I don't want to like call anybody out, but someone we used to stream with occasionally, who I hadn't talked to in like 4 years, just because most of the people from that old we stream every day group kind of went off and did their own thing. Reached out to me last year and was like, "I know you guys hate me, and I'm sorry for whatever I did. Can you just tell me what I did that fucked up?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" They're like, I know you hate me. Like, what did I do? Like, I'm sorry, whatever it was. Like, why have you been ignoring me all these years? And it's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I've just been busy. Like, what? Like, there's this, like, you think something happened that I have no fucking reference point for what you're talking about. Like, people get weirdly in their head about stuff and just let it fester and grow.
Yeah, that's kind of the weird thing like with the online stuff in general, but like yeah, when it's part of also the real world.
Yeah.
Like I remember feeling like I was at the Massive Black, like one of the Massive Black workshops, and I met Marco Durjevic, and I thought like I remember thinking like, is Marco a dick? Like I can't tell if Marco's a dick,
Mhm.
and I was like, or am I being a dick? I was like, what's happening? It's like I can't tell if
Mhm.
I'm offending him or he's a dick or what's going on because I was in my own head. And I asked somebody I was with, I was like, am I being an ass? Like, how come he seems like he just hates me? And the person I was with was like, oh, it's just some dude. He's like, it's because you're always so facetious. So
Hmm.
later that night, I looked up what facetious meant because I didn't know what it meant. I
Hmm.
was like, yeah, that must be it, man. I don't know
That's
what facetious
that's the
means.
one.
And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, maybe. I was like, I'm pretty sarcastic and stuff I say might not sound right.
Well, it's also weird when you talk to people that aren't from the same country that sarcasm doesn't translate.
Yeah.
And that has gotten me in a lot of awkward situations where I make a joke and they think I'm being completely serious. That happened in Bali a couple times.
Yeah.
Where it's
Well,
like, oh, wait a minute. They're
the,
hearing the words, they're not hearing the tone.
the follow up to that story is that I ended up meeting Marco later and like being in Germany. And I was like, I just asked him because I don't know. I just ask people.
Mhm.
And I was like, were you like annoyed with me or anything like that? I was like, because I got weird vibes from you. And he was like, what? I don't even know what you're talking about. He was like, I thought you were cool. And I was like,
Great.
what is wrong with me?
Yeah, that's what
I was like,
everybody does,
what
though.
just happened? I don't even understand.
That's
And
what
then he
everybody
was like,
does.
no, man, I really liked you. I remember when you reached out to me on MySpace in like 2000, whatever. Then he told me this whole story and he was like, I thought that was really cool. And I was like, I don't know what's happening. I had like this weird thing in my head.
Eh,
So like I get it, but it's funny how like if you anticipate kind of like meeting somebody, there's
yeah.
like a big chance that you're gonna do something like that and be like, oh, something just happened. Nothing happened. Hardly, like, I'd say 99% of the time, nothing happened.
Well, it's like
You
a
probably
group of
just met a tired person.
someone at a workshop we did was really mad at us, and I didn't know why. And then, like 2 years after the workshop, I finally ended up talking to them about it, and they were like, "You taught the workshop stuff, and you hung out a little bit, but like, I was hoping like we'd get like some one-on-one time and like hang out like friends do, and you guys didn't do that, and it pissed me off because I paid so much money to come to the workshop." And I was like, "Oh, like that, okay, like I guess I get that, but like." I didn't know that. Like no one said anything. All I knew is like mad. I'm mad at you guys, and it's like okay, like you gotta vocalize stuff, or it gets weird. The
Yeah,
longer,
the weird
yeah,
thing about like keeping that stuff inside is that you start to like build a narrative around it.
yeah, you start to justify your own weirdness by finding other reasons to be mad at the person, and it's amazing what the brain will do to make you not be a dick. It'll do
Right.
some crazy gymnastics to justify all your feelings to protect you from realizing you're crazy.
Yeah, I mean the good thing is that you can kind of like I can take myself out of the situation and be like, okay, I get that. I remember starting out doing this stuff, being at these things and taking things like that personally. Like not like personally like that, but like where I'm like, oh, that's kind of a bummer. I thought they would be like more of a dude. But then you're like, when you start to do those things, you're like, oh, it's a ton of work. And they
Hmm.
don't like people who aren't social at all don't like for me I get wiped out by social stuff for not social stuff in general. I'm actually like fine with that, but I just put in a lot of effort into the teaching thing and all that, and I'll spend like hours, and we like Dan and I will go over everybody's thing. I mean, like you kind of know that
Oh
from
yeah,
here.
like when the last workshop we did, we gave every single student a half hour or more portfolio review of everything and like where to get jobs and gave them all like contact info of people to reach out to, and like it took like 9.5 hours or something
Yeah.
to get through all of it. But like that's because I've gone to workshops that suck and I've gotten portfolio reviews that suck, and I try really hard to never do that, even if it takes forever. Like yeah, I just did that this week up at oh by the way, if anyone from Leslie University is listening, they had a fire this week and it set off the sprinklers, and all the seniors who had their portfolios on display because they're about to graduate, all their work got destroyed.
Oh,
So shout out to you guys. That's the fucking worst. But
yeah, that's really
yeah.
sad.
Yeah, I don't think people understand like how tired you are after teaching for like 8 hours straight. And like as much as I'd like to go hang out with people after that, it's like I just need to go to sleep. I
Yeah.
need to like lay in a pool or something and recover.
I think if we did it all the time, it wouldn't be that bad.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, it's more of the we don't do this. Suddenly you're doing it.
Hmm.
Yeah. And me and Dan have like that weird, like, Catholic guilt.
Oh my God, I know it's the New England thing.
Yes. A lot of people talk about that. It's like from that area, like the Irish Catholic thing, where
Hmm.
like,
If you don't succeed at what you're trying to do, it's like a moral failing.
yeah, so we always do that. Like, I feel like
Overcompensate
too much,
way
too
too much.
too much stuff. It's like I couldn't charge for any of like the streaming stuff forever. Like I was uncomfortable with doing like this even.
Yeah,
We had to like really get used to it.
it took us forever just to be okay with Twitch subscriptions.
Yeah, it's like I don't know if I'm worth it. I'm a real big loser.
Mr. Jake says, anime artist not safe for work needed. You also need to be able to draw shiny, sweaty skin and shiny clothing like latex. Job offer on DeviantArt right now.
Really?
There you go, everybody.
Hey, get in line. I'm gonna get that job.
We should accept one of those jobs, but
Mm,
have the terms in the contract be that we can stream it on Twitch and just broadcast the experience of doing a fetish job.
that would be incredible, actually.
That's how we get banned on Twitch.
That's true.
But if we could get away with that, that'd be fucking great. Read all their like feedback. Like the breasts aren't big enough and it needs more sweat.
We'll do our Vice
Yeah.
undercover.
Our Vice documentary on it.
We'll have to change our voices to be really nasally. On this week's Vice. Yeah, we'll just do it.
Any tips, Mike Burns asks, any tips on getting out of that headspace where you're constantly overthinking the weirdness you're causing? If I don't take myself out of the mindset, I wind up for sure causing weirdness, sometimes when there was none at all.
Uh, you just kind of gotta, honestly, like for me, a little bit of like, a little bit of alcohol helps me
Sure.
to just kind of like adapt to be like, calm down. Don't think of anybody as anybody. Nobody's anybody. Everybody's just like you. They don't want to be here.
Hmm.
They're uncomfortable. They don't know anybody. It's just like you gotta not think of people as the thing that you believe them to be. Because at the end of the day, it's like even if you think artists that you're meeting or whatever else, like that they're, you know, I don't know what you think, they're famous or something, because they're not. Like they don't have any kind of reach and nobody knows who they are. So
Hmm.
they never experience that kind of thing. Oh, really?
What?
Kim was just saying I'm hard to hear.
Oh, I didn't see anything in the chat about that.
So, um, yeah, I think that like it's more of humanizing people and understanding that like the artists that you're meeting, they don't necessarily, I mean, some of them do believe their own shit, but like most of them don't. Most of them, especially in like illustration, they don't see themselves as these things. So it'll be like, you know, it's kind of uncomfortable to treat them like that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So it's like getting past that and starting to just kind of like realize that these people might be like as uncomfortable as you. That helps, you know, just to kind of put it in perspective and be like, okay, they're just like super normal. They're just here. They don't know anybody. This is probably like the first large group of people they've been around in a while.
So, like,
It's like it's not that crazy.
for me, the only thing that works, like the alcohol works too, but I don't drink that often. So, like, my tolerance is super shit. But the only thing that works for me is total honesty with people and just like just right out of the gate. And the only thing that sucks about that is that if people are comfortable like with themselves, they'll think that that's funny and they'll warm up to you. But if people are really insecure, it'll reverse and they'll hate you
That's true.
because they won't be able to also do that and they'll project that onto you and really hate you. So like for example, I had to go do portfolio reviews at Leslie this week, and the first thing I said to the students was, "Hey, I'm Dan. I'm an illustrator who's worked on this kind of stuff before. Here's my comic, and this week I went on a date and got catfished." And I just
Right.
told them that whole story, And then by the end of that, everybody was comfortable enough that we could just talk about their work because it got rid of that weird barrier of you're this other thing on another tier and we are students. And like it made it comfortable because we could joke about regular stuff. But if you go do that at like a con or something or at a workshop and you're like, most of the time if you walk up and you're like, man, when I woke up this morning I smelled like shit, like, if you just say horrible stuff about yourself, most of the time people will think it's funny and go like, oh, okay, I don't need to be nervous around this person. But once in a while a really insecure person will look at that and hate you more than they ever would have hated you to begin with.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
You just kind of let those people hate you. And there's
Mhm.
not a lot you can do. In terms of like, you're not gonna please everybody with who you
No.
are. It's just not ever gonna happen. So you got to kind of get rid of that. Like I've met people and I've definitely given off the wrong impression. Like I've said, like what Dan's saying, I'll say horrible things
Yeah.
because I have that weird impulse. I don't know if it's like self destructive or something. But like we'll get on the phone with our agent, and the first thing I'll say to him is that I have like a nice glaze going around the base of my penis
Yeah,
because I've
right.
been working all day,
Well,
and
it
like
gets rid of the thing
thankfully
of
he'll
like,
laugh.
if you're nervous that you're going to say something wrong, sometimes the best thing you can do is say the wrong thing first. And then
Yeah,
you don't have to worry about it anymore because it's out there. Like, but
exactly.
yeah.
But it can go the opposite way, which has happened to me so many times,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I don't know if they just think I'm weird or like it works. I don't know, but I, it's a mixed bag.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's awful. I've
Anything's
definitely talked to
better.
directors and just started like shitting on something and been like, reel it back. I'll be like saying in my head, like, stop doing this. It's,
Yeah.
it's gonna fall apart. This is a Hollywood person. They don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird because you never know who you're talking to. And then you find out that they worked on something you shit on.
Or you find out that like,
They hate
um,
it too.
be as professional as possible in terms of like a working situation in that way if you're uncomfortable. Like we're talking kind of in terms of like meeting people in an event space. But
Hmm.
like in terms of working with people and it's uncomfortable to like work with somebody you look up to, just be as professional as possible. That's all I can say. Cause I've had the weirdness of I remember hearing Patrice O'Neill. He put it like the best, where he was talking about when he worked on a movie. He's a comedian. He's dead now, but
Hmm.
he worked on this movie and he was just like joking around with everybody. And he was being like, just trying to break the ice kind of thing. But, but it's kind of like you're passing on your weird tension in like joke form. And that kind of like approach can definitely ease things where like people feel more comfortable because you're so normal. But at the same time, you can come off as like super sarcastic dick too. And like if you're not careful with how you're joking around. And the
Yeah.
one that he talked about, which I thought was interesting, was he was saying that like the people that worked on the movie ended up like calling his agent and they were like, is this guy going to be difficult to work with?
Wow.
And I was like, ugh,
Yeah.
that like, and then that made me think back to every time I've made like a stupid joke or anything when I'm working with people. It's like I don't need to do that. It's like I'm
No.
just doing it because I talk to everybody like I'm talking to you guys right now, and like I talk to Dan,
Which is bad.
which is bad.
Very, very bad.
I had to really stop that.
I got yelled at this week for that.
Really,
Yeah, I
what
remember.
happened?
I don't want to get into it because it's like a whole saga.
Well,
But
just the base example.
this person I was talking to that I might have met on a dating site was like, "Do you talk this way to everybody?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they were like, "You're insane. You're an insane person. That you don't understand that this is you only talk to people like this if you're intimate with them and you know them. You should never be this comfortable with somebody that you haven't known for a long time and you don't fully trust. You're insane." And I was like, "No, I just don't want to talk about bullshit." Like, I don't know. Like, I hate conversations about stuff that isn't interesting. It's like, what's the point of that?
Yeah, you do have to gauge your audience.
But yeah, it's like some people just, I mean, I get it. Like in retrospect, it's like, sure, most people don't come from the background of live streaming for years and talking about literally everything with strangers all the time. So I have to like look at that and go, oh, okay, right.
Yeah,
I get it.
certain people, it'll make them like your best friend after talking to them because you're just so open. Certain people, it's a total turn up. Yeah, it was weird.
No, I mean, like, I'm allowing messages that auto mod flagged because people are using some language, but she's not like a bitch or anything. She just, it's people don't come from that level of comfort with total strangers most of the time. Like most people listening here probably get it because you're on the internet and talking to strangers is like something you've been doing your whole career. It's just part of it. But for people that just have regular jobs, small town New England, like that's not a normal thing. Like I get that. It takes me a minute to get there where I go, oh no, okay, that does make sense because I got to like reframe and look at it from their approach.
You kind of got to go back to before you were like super comfortable with yourself
Yeah,
and be like, what did I used to do? Like, what kind of like, you know, walls did I kind of put up to maybe not be so like rude?
right.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's a definite difference.
Jack Mack says the best thing I've done in those situations is semi not giving a shit attitude. For example, I've never done karaoke, but I was at a karaoke party recently and it took me a bit to warm up, but then realizing everyone there is doing it too.
Yeah, it is. It is a big part of it to kind of look around and be like, oh, everybody else is uncomfortable. Like this is just like
Hmm.
it's not as serious as I'm making it out to be, or like I'm not alone in it, kind of thing.
I think my favorite thing was after that last workshop that Massive Black did. Um, some people were like really mad at me for like talking to Kekai.
Oh yeah, that thing.
And like it was really really weird like because I like we met Kekai there and he's great and like I've been a huge fan of like I was a huge fan of Alexi and JS Rosbach's Merlin book because it was like the first time I'd seen like the graphic design and illustration combined thing. And like at the workshop, I was just acting totally normal with all them and just like hanging out and having coffee and just talking about whatever because like that was like my third workshop I think, and at that
Well,
point
this
like
was the San Francisco one.
yeah, and especially with Kekai, it's like he's the easiest person to talk to in the world. So like if you once you get comfortable with him, it's like you've known him for years. It's super weird, but like after that, a bunch of people online were like, who does Dan think he is? He's not that good at painting. He doesn't deserve to talk to these people. And it's like,
Yeah,
what? Like, what? That's a huh? But no, like that was like a whole thing of like, he hasn't earned it yet, and he's acting so comfortable, like he's on their level, and it's like, no,
the
that was not what.
incels of the art world.
Yeah, exactly. The
This
incels of the art
fucking
world.
Dan's a bitch.
It's so crazy, but that's a real thing. Is like people were mad at me for acting comfortable with professional artists because I wasn't good enough at doing art to merit their attention as a human. I don't know. It's super fucking weird. Super fucking weird. But yeah, I mean, just they're just people. Everybody's just a person. Like you can talk to anybody. Like I can't go to the bakery down the street and talk to the guy there because I haven't mastered pastry cooking. Like what the fuck? Like that's the world we live in. Ivan P, I don't know why you can't see other people in the chat. I don't know. That's very strange.
I'm back.
So,
Elu wouldn't poop this morning. She was too scared of the
oh,
lawnmowers.
that sucks.
So now she needs to poop. So Kim's taking her out. What were you saying?
I was just saying
Yeah,
it
about
was
the cake guy thing.
yeah, like I can't go to the bakery down the street and talk to the guy there because I haven't mastered pastry cooking yet. Like what?
It's true.
It's an insane worldview.
That's that's how I felt about Dan. I was like, will you shut your fucking mouth? Like, come on, Dan.
I can't believe this part just said they don't deserve your special semen to me. That's just the best sentence I've ever had. It's the best sentence I've ever had said to me. Dan, I don't want you settling for low quality women. Gotta keep your standards up. Those bitches don't deserve your special semen.
It is an incredible thing to say to another
It's an
person.
amazing sentence. What's the pep talk every dad should give when a kid turns 14? Now listen, son, I don't
We
want you
should write
settling
that book, My
for a low
Special
quality.
Semen.
Yeah, my special semen. Don't settle for low quality women. It's so dumb.
Don Draper, Dad.
I love that.
Yeah, I really like that advice. Special
Oh
semen.
man. I like how just because there's so many Gundams on this page, it's taking forever.
Oh, yeah. It'll be worth it.
It's gonna be worth it though.
It'll look like something.
It's gonna be great.
All you really have to do is draw the first few ones in like the foreground, and then you can BS the last ones.
Chess says, I only talk to people if I think they're inferior to me. There you go. That's the secret.
That's
That's the
exactly
secret.
right.
That's how Hitler almost took over the world.
Yeah. Hey,
Oh
if
God.
it works for Hitler, that's a general rule.
I'd love to say that casually. Well, my advice, I mean, me personally, I only talk to people that I think are inferior to me because you're saying that to the person you're talking to, which is you're selling they're inferior to you.
Yeah, it's a great line.
Hmm.
Honestly, yeah. I only talk to fucking rock bottom losers,
Hmm.
guys like you.
Yeah, I guess art incels really are a thing. The more I think about it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I think they exist everywhere in
they
some way.
do. They must. Insecurities everywhere, so I guess it just filters into whatever your
Yeah,
pursuit is, whether it's women or art or whatever else.
yeah, it's just insecurity. It is weird though.
If
Art's
anyone
not real,
listening,
everybody.
no, it isn't.
It's
If
not real.
anyone listening is an incel or you're worried you might be one, you don't have to be.
Uh
Like
oh.
you're making like a choice. You know
Talking
what
them
I
off the
mean?
ledge.
No, I'm just saying like it's super easy to just go talk to people. Like it's not I legitimately don't get it. I like those memes and stuff we were looking at on the forums last night. I
Yeah,
don't get it. It's so confusing to me.
yeah.
Like most people are in relationships and most people aren't supermodels. So, like, what is this weird Chad thing?
Stop isolating yourself online. That's it. We've been there. It's not good.
Do y'all have some cringe stories about workshops and meeting artists?
Obviously. I mean,
Yeah,
I
I
can
mean,
tell
there's
I can
tons.
tell things without saying any names about anything.
There's so many.
Like I'll tell you, I've done horrible things. Like I kind of had to stop being like, and these aren't necessarily cringe stories for um, other people.
Hmm.
Maybe more just for me, but also kind of for other people. It's a mixed bag.
Can I open up with a quick general one?
Sure.
The thing I hate the most, and I've said this to Dave at every workshop we've ever gone to at one point or another. I hate this more than anything at workshops is when someone says about the workshop, finally, I'm around my people.
Uh, Absolutely.
Oh boy, do I fucking hate that. Feels so good to be around my people. Like, get the fuck out. Anyway, your turn.
Okay, so I did this thing once, and it was just because I was at the end. Dan knows what I'm talking about.
Hmm.
Dan was in the elevator. Um, so we're at this thing, and like we're there, we're working with people, we're trying to do stuff, whatever. Things aren't going very good. Everybody's kind of slacking. A lot of the organizers are just kind of like fucking off in it,
Hmm.
and it's a little bit hard to deal with because we've already like a lot of the artists and stuff have already done a lot of compromises to try and make everything work for the organizers. it's like this whole roundabout thing of like people trying to make sure it works for the people that are there, right? So this is all stuff that no people in the event know about, because why would they? And I get to a point where uh like we're super late for this thing. There's supposed to be like classes and whatever going on, and basically uh uh we're trying to figure out how to basically like get into some class thing. Nobody's there. I'm trying to tell you the story without saying anything.
Sure.
So nobody's there to make it happen. Go to find this person to make it happen, to get the class actually started, and they're like asleep. And so I'm really mad. And then and this is like after days of things falling
Also,
apart.
keep in mind half the instructors didn't arrive due to technical problems, so we've been covering double duty.
We also, in order to make up for it, took everybody in the class, me and Dan. We and did anybody else split it with us?
No, that's what caused the argument at the end.
Okay, so me and Dan paid for everybody's dinner, and I guess these people ended up lying about that later or something like that.
Yeah.
When they told everybody that we didn't do that just because they were mad at us, even though we did. So like we took like 30 students out to dinner just
Yeah,
to make up for it.
it was like $1,500.
Yeah. And yeah, then
Oh
they
no,
said
you
that,
know what? One other person did.
yeah,
pitch in.
okay, so one other person did too.
Our
So
Jersey
we split it
boys
three
out there
ways.
listening. We love you.
Yeah, we love you. And anyway, so it gets to this point. We've already done all this stuff, and then finally, the all these people are waiting to do their class stuff, and we're in an elevator. The guy's laughing at me, and I said something I shouldn't have said. I said,
Well, okay, he's laughing at you for taking it so seriously.
right.
That's the important thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, he's laughing at me for taking it so seriously. Like, calm down, man. It's not that big a deal. So I said, if you don't stop laughing, I'm going to punch you in the fucking face
Yep.
in the elevator with nowhere to go. I fell off the rails too hard. I was like, I'm going to lose my mind. And
My response
that's
to
my that's
that,
my cringe.
I was in the elevator. He looked at me. My response to that was, I've never heard him say that, so I'd take him seriously if I were you.
I was so mad. I mean, I still think my anger was justified. I just shouldn't have said that.
No, your anger was totally justified.
I just shouldn't have been that ridiculous.
Yeah.
But still, that was so frustrating. That was like the cringiest thing for me personally, because
Yeah, that was bad.
the lack of professionalism around it
Hmm.
was something that always bothers me. Like taking advantage of people. Like I can't do that, and it just bugged me so hard. Like I was so mad, and I get really mad like that, and only in like situations that are real specific. Like I don't really get angry ever.
I think one of the cringiest things I've ever seen at a workshop was at that Hollywood workshop that Massive Black did on the James Cameron stage. You remember that?
Wait, hold on. That's right, everybody. That was cool, Chad, Witcher, Dave.
That was Chad Witcher Dave, yeah.
Anyway,
If you keep laughing at me, I'm gonna punch you in the fucking face.
I can still see his face.
Tell the king I'm not his man. Yeah.
That's what rude
No,
boys do.
at that Massive Black workshop that they did in L.A., which I can't remember the name of. You know, the one they did at the James Cameron thing, the huge like studio lot one. Remember that?
Right.
Do you remember? You were with me. There's this. This was one of the cringiest moments. Is it was like sponsored by what company was it? Like the League of Legends company or something?
Right, yeah.
And they had like a game room. It was like the Riot game room. Like, you know, if you're tired from taking your classes, or like, you know, take a break and kick back in the Riot game room.
Right. I
It was
forgot
like a
about that.
room full of video games, and we went in there. And you know, this is just another example of what we were talking about earlier, where I shouldn't say things because I'm assuming everybody feels the same way I do, and they don't. So, but I remember being like, can you imagine paying all the money to come here to a workshop to network with artists and spending your time in here playing fucking League of Legends when there's like every opportunity outside this room to go talk to all these people that are doing all this real shit? And this kid came up to me and he was like, "Why are you talking shit, man?" And I was like, "I'm not." Do you remember this, Dave?
I do remember this.
And he was like, "What? I can't fucking relax and play a game? Maybe I'm stressed." He was like, maybe the person they came here to see isn't doing a presentation right now. Have you thought of that?" And like, you're taking this really personally, so it makes me think that you agree with me.
It's just the wrong thing to do because you
Yeah,
just instantly turned around,
yeah,
kept going in on it.
it was just like, it was so cringy. It was so embarrassing for like everybody involved. What the fuck, man?
Yeah, Dan, maybe I want to get my game on. I don't get enough gaming at home, so I like to pay $500 and then game here.
I like to fly to LA, get a ticket for a workshop, and then get my game on here. Maybe the Wi-Fi is better here.
Yeah, man.
But anyway, yeah, that was one of the cringiest ones. The kid just wouldn't let it go.
Yeah, I really like doing workshop stuff though. In
Oh, me
general,
too.
like
Great.
they're some of the best. Like I don't know, it's like the best kind of energy to get because it makes you want to do tons of stuff when you go home because you just see everybody working on things and you're like, yes. Like well, probably one of the best workshops I ever did was uh one of the best ones was just here in Denver. There's this like gallery and I was invited to do like a live painting there and it was just a small group. It lasted for a few hours one night. It was just like perfect. I did one demo and then like a long Q&A thing and then it was over, but it was like the right amount of everything just for me personally, like
Hmm.
being like a guest artist kind of thing. That and the Gnomon Workshop. Gnomon Workshop was probably one of my favorites just because, like, I felt super comfortable for some reason. It was like me, Ian McKegg, uh, Dan Levisi, um, Matthias, and Vasserholt. Is that how you say his name?
Yeah.
And yeah, it was really easy, like small-ish group. Just go on stage and do a demo and talk and answer questions. It was really cool. Like anything like that where it's kind of like the low key kind of thing. Like I really like those
Hmm.
in lieu of like a convention space. Like I'd much rather teach in like a classroom. And the same thing goes for like the Bali workshop. Like I like that idea. Like that setup of just being in a room with artists.
Yeah, it's
Like
great.
that's probably my favorite kind of thing. I think that you kind of miss a lot when you're in the like it's different. It's a different experience.
Well, you don't get any personal interaction. Like at the Bali workshop, we were able to critique students individually and really spend a ton of time on their portfolio over the course of a week and like identify what their strengths and weaknesses were and really like tailor what we were teaching to their needs or like what they wanted to get better at.
Right.
And like when you're doing the workshop format where it's a bunch of people just watching somebody paint who's really good at painting, it's still good, but you completely lose that personal touch. Even if you get a portfolio review at a workshop, it's usually not very long and they don't have like a couple days to get to know you and like see you working on different kinds of things and like identify what you're actually good at.
Right.
So you lose all of that really beneficial stuff in that setting.
Yeah. And yeah. Oh, what's the follow up to the me yelling at that guy?
The follow up is that things got worked out. It took quite a while. And then the person who Dave threatened to punch came up when we were having dinner and sat with us and tried to get Dave to forgive him and say that he didn't do anything wrong over and over and over again. And then I said, "You just need to own up that you fucked up, man, because this has all been like one thing after another. It's been crazy. Just own that you fucked up. Dave doesn't need to apologize to you. Like it got settled, just like, but he was doing the thing people do where they go, "No, I'm not, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. These are all the reasons why it's not my fault. It's not my fault. Forgive me. I didn't do anything wrong though. I didn't do anything wrong though." And he kept going and going and going. And he had also been super rude to Kim. I can't remember exactly what he said to Kim, but it was
Yeah, I don't
really
remember
not.
either.
It was really not good. Uh, Something about she was only there because she was Dave's girlfriend or something, and like she didn't merit an opinion. And when he said that, I said, "Okay, fuck off." And he said, "What?" And I said, "Fuck off." And then he tried to talk, and I started yelling, "Fuck off." And every time he tried to talk, I said, "Fuck off, fuck off, fuck off." And then he kept trying to talk, and
Uh,
I stood up and I said, "Fuck off, fuck off." And then he realized I wasn't going to let him talk, and he left. And that was the last time we ever spoke to him.
and that's how Dan and I deal with our problems.
Yep. There you
No,
go.
that was frustrating. That whole experience is like mixed,
And I
half
totally own
good,
up the
half
fact
bad.
that I shouldn't have done that. I get it. I get that it's unprofessional, but I was already pissed off. I was already in another component of it I won't get into because it'll take forever. I had to use my card, my credit card, to cover a bunch of shit because everything got fucked up and the people organizing it didn't have a credit card they could use. So like I was in the hole for several $1,000s at this point potentially, and I didn't know what was going on, and nobody was giving me answers, and all the stuff Dave mentioned before got fucked up. And then he went after Kim, and I was like, okay, I'm just done. Like that was it. That was the end of
And
it.
you got the organizers their money back.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, there was a refund situation, and I had to call the people that took their money and threatened to sue them with my personal lawyer to get their money back.
Yep.
Right. I forgot about that. But anyway, yeah, that's how that wrapped up.
Yeah, it's just the way it goes.
Hey, where's Kim? She carried you last stream. This is Darkstorm.
Oh, that's true. We had such a long stream last time, thanks to
Bort,
Kim. Otherwise, it wouldn't have lasted.
Bort Gunderson asks, how do you carry through that energy or inspiration when you go to events like that?
uh, apart from like I don't know. I'm actually really excited to talk to people. I love talking to people about what they want to do. Like I really like that. And you can like it's like on here talking to you guys. Like I love doing this. Like I like when you guys ask questions and art stuff or whatever.
Mm.
Like it's fun to do that, to the teaching aspect or whatever you want to call it. Um, so I don't have a problem with like inspiration. If you're asking like in terms of how do you then like work there, um, I don't know. It's kind of automated now, where like I don't really think about it. I guess it's like going in with some kind of plan of what you're gonna do. Like just as a example, I went to Noman and I remember thinking, okay, I need an idea, but I don't really, I'm not going to like plan out something huge. I just said, like, I'm going to draw a chicken night. That's all I said in my head.
Right.
And I don't know what that is, but that's what I had in my mind, just so I could kind of go into questions and things without having to really think about what I was drawing. And I'll do that kind of thing. Just like have a premise of an idea. Like Dan and I came up with like a plan for one event where we just did like I forget the name of it, but it was like a cowboy sci-fi
Oh,
thing.
the Dead Trigger Trappers.
Yeah, dead triggers.
Bricks Cannon and the Dead Trigger Trappers.
Yeah, we just come up with like a stupid Saturday morning cartoon name,
Yeah.
and then use that as inspiration for the
We
rest.
did Escape from Chimp City.
Yep, Escape from Chimp City.
And I think there was a third one. I can't remember though.
Yeah, so just like a basic premise that kind of guides through the rest. But yeah,
Um, let's see. Hey guys, after those streams, I feel like watching Gundam, but there's too many. What do you recommend? There's so many versions of it. I feel overwhelmed.
I
I
honestly
like.
don't know.
Yeah, I don't know a ton of them. I know. What's the one? Trying to think.
The one that's cool on YouTube, that's like a really tiny short.
What is it like?
F91 or
I mean,
93. That one's a cool little short for
yeah, that one's
animation
cool.
quality, but it's not like a story that you're
Double
gonna
O
like.
83 is okay. What's the one? I'm gonna forget now. The really famous one.
Wing.
No. Look it up.
Yeah, I know nothing of Gundam. I never got into it as a kid.
I know nothing of Gundam.
You know nothing of Gundam.
You know nothing.
Incel? I
Let's
want to
see.
fight Frieza
Incel.
as an
Yeah.
incel.
Ah, an incel warrior. What do you mean he's an incel? He's my son. Goku freaking out. What do you mean, Frieza?
I didn't know that this thing existed, but I last night I was talking to Kim, and I don't know what this means, but I looked at it and I said, "That's my wife." And then I just typed, and then I turned to the computer and I typed in "That's my wife" into YouTube to see what would come up.
Yeah, what
And
is
then
it?
there was one of Vegeta fighting that cat man, and he yells, "That's my wife," and then beats him.
Oh, right.
And I was like, "Oh, all right."
That's what it is. It's Mobile Suit Gundam, the '08th MS team. That's the really famous one. That one's pretty good. But that's all we've really seen. Hey, if anyone's curious, Black Panther is on xvideos.com, a porn site in full in HD.
That's
For
true.
some reason, the other night I was browsing porn as
For
you
some
do,
reason.
trying to go to sleep. And on the main page of X videos was Infinity War, and I was like, "There's no way that's the whole movie." It was, so I rewatched Infinity War, and then it linked me to Age of Ultron, which then linked me to Black Panther, and I think it's still up. I just noticed I still had the tab open. Let me refresh it and see. Oh no, it's gone.
Wow. Way to
There's
give
probably
old
more.
news.
There were a few. There were a few mirrors of it though, so maybe you'll find one. But yeah, that was really funny to me that people are just doing that on porn sites now.
Makes sense.
It's great.
Good place to hide them.
The Chad Vegeta, the Virgin Goku, says Bog Sloth.
It's true. Fucking Chads. Getting all the women. Do you have to go?
No, my trainer just texted me. We got pushed back to 4.
Okay. I just realized, I was like, oh, what is happening? It's like
No,
already time for you to leave.
no, yeah, we got pushed from 2 to 4 because his car is still broken down. Oh, that was interesting. Okay, so I had training Saturday and it got canceled because his car broke down, and we got our advances of the book, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go grab a coffee. He lives right next to the coffee place. So I was like, I'll drop off, your copy of the book for you. And he was like, okay, cool. So I go over there and I drop off the book and we're hanging out on his porch. And he goes, hey, don't look to the side. Like, don't look down towards the water, but like out of the peripheral vision, like, do you see that black car? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, okay, don't turn your head, but that's the girl who's stalking me. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, because he's got the marine training
He's
thing
a
of like
Chad.
he doesn't need to look around. But he was telling me all this crazy shit this girl's doing to him and stalking him, and like her car is always somewhere in the vicinity, like they can see his porch for when he comes outside. And like when he'll walk down the street to go to the store, she'll show up at the store, like pull up behind him when he's getting gas and be like, what are the odds? And we're both here getting gas. Wow. And I was like, that's pretty good. It's pretty good that we're just being watched right now.
That's so scary.
I love it. Yeah, my discreet partnership with Pornhub.
You guys are going to love Black Panther.
You're gonna
Oh,
love
it's
it.
not there. You guys should check out the rest of their
Oh,
selection.
guess you better go to RedTube. I think it's still up over there. People vlogging on porn sites. That's pretty good.
This
If
is
there's
so
any questions
dumb.
anyone has or stuff they want us to talk about, just put it in the chat. Tag at Steve Lichman. Happy to talk about whatever. Whether it's incels or stalkers or porn or
It's
being
true.
awkward at conventions or almost punching people or yeah.
Yeah, I just like to talk about personal character flaws.
How does someone
All
have time
good.
to stalk? Well, watch less YouTube. Really look at your day and think about how much time you're wasting doing things you don't need to do, and then take that time and put it into stalking someone who doesn't love you.
Yeah, just go. Why don't they love me?
Yeah.
Maybe I should go to
Go.
their house and find out.
Do I really need to spend that much time reading articles in the morning? Do I really need to spend 2 hours at the gym? I could just do an hour and a half and put that other 30 minutes into stalking this guy who won't understand that I love him.
That's right.
That's what you do. 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. Pretty soon you got a free hour to stalk somebody.
Well, you gotta know what he's doing that's better than being with you.
Figure out what work you can take with you to do in the car while you're stalking him and staring at his house. Like, with laptop and Wi-Fi being as good as they are these days, the advanced technology, you can do most of your work from your center console of your car. So it's like,
Well,
multitask.
with the iPad Pro and
Yeah.
Apple
The iPad
Pencil,
Pro, I'm stalking every day.
yeah, you can be anywhere you
I
want.
got my home office right there in the palm of my hand. So
It's you looking at kids,
yeah,
drawn. Oh, hey.
making that iPad Pro ad across the street from a playground.
Yeah. Hey, how's it going? As a freelance graphic designer
So funny.
and part-time pedophile.
Hey Dave, with this kind of creation, are you free to pull from pretty much any pre-established universe? Yes,
There's no rules,
you can do anything.
but yes.
Do I know how to avoid the ex-Marine's peripheral vision asking for a friend? No, I have no idea. My trainer scares the shit out of me. We're outside doing stuff, like whatever he's got me doing, jogging or whatever, and he'll just go stop. And then he'll go, in 2 minutes, there's going to be a helicopter over there. And I'm like, okay. And then 2 minutes later, a helicopter, I can hear it coming. And I'm like, how the fuck? You get out of here. Like what? Like he has this weird thing where at any given time, I've tested this because he told me it in passing and I didn't believe him. So occasionally I'll bring it up. At any given time, he knows what windows are open and how many open windows there are in all the buildings around him.
Well, he was special forces, right?
Yeah, he was there when they took Baghdad, and snipers were like a huge problem. So like, I've tested this, and it scares the shit out of me. Where I'm like, how many windows? Just in the middle of a conversation, he'll be talking about Lord of the Rings because he's like a big nerd, and I'm like, how many windows? And he'll go 5 windows, one behind me, two in front of me, two to the side, and I'm like, oh, ew, like, like gross. That's so crazy that's just drilled into you.
Do you ever ask him how he'd kill you?
Have I ever asked him that?
I'm sure he's thought of it.
Maybe I haven't.
Hey, I think you should ask him.
I should probably ask him that today.
Yeah, ask
I'm
him
gonna ask my
today.
trainer how he'd kill me today, and I'll get back to you guys.
Yeah, please.
Absolutely. How do you avoid muddy colors and values in painting? Sorry for the boring question, asks Bog Sloth.
It is funny when we don't talk about art for a long time and
Yeah,
then
I
an art
know. And
question
then
comes up.
we realize this is supposed to be an art
You
stream all
go,
of a
oh,
sudden.
yeah. We were
Right,
talking about art for
right.
like the longest time.
Hmm.
Um, how do you not muddy your colors? Is that what it is?
How do you avoid,
Well,
avoid muddy colors and values in a painting?
understanding. I think number one is like understanding color. So, color families, how they all work together, things like that, color harmony. That helps. And then on top of that, you want to have solid values. So, like a lot of times, the reason things look muddy is because you don't have enough of a contrast in the piece. You don't have. I mean, a lot of it's just structure too. It's like if there's no real solid structure to it, then you tend to have like whatever images. And I think that comes from like a lack of planning too. Like if you have a good structure to like your, I don't know, like anatomy, whatever you're drawing and moving into painting, then that helps you kind of be more deliberate with like how you drop shadows and where you're planning out, uh, the light or whatever, like that kind of thing. That kind of thing's important because otherwise you're just kind of playing with blobs if you're going into like a painting as a painting. And that way, I think things can get pretty muddy. I used to limit myself just to grayscale because I didn't do drawings. So I would basically draw in my grayscale. And that's kind of how I got around that, just like building up values and shapes until things had a nice read to them. And then I'd add in colors. And then I'd pretty much just stick to like complementary colors when I did that, just to limit myself to something that I could control and knew would pop at least a little bit. But yeah, you could try and limit yourself, I guess, to like strong light sources and complementary colors at first just to get used to it so that you have better control over what you're doing and then start to get more complex with it after that. But do studies, I would say. Look at other pieces that people do, see why it works, kind of break down the basics of like what they're using where and why. You know, like a lot of like Drew Strews and stuff. Like each piece of it will be a shape, and that shape will basically be one color, and it'll work in like the composition that way. But it basically makes for an instant read because you're like that big block is one character. You know, like Indiana Jones, like his movie paintings he did and stuff like, you know, Back to the Future that he did. Like it's just one big shape of a person that's like kind of orange on a blue background. So it like pops really fast and like you see, you get a read on it like really quickly. Things like that help, I think, just to simplify it so that you have an idea of what you're doing when you're doing it. Yeah.
Bad Dog says, question, I mainly do digital, but wanted to brush up on traditional inking. For that, I wanted to do my first 60 or so page thing traditionally. Is this a recipe for grand disaster? No, but be prepared for the fact that your 60th page is going to look way better than your first page. Because there's going to be a learning curve. Any other tips on that?
I'm looking at Gundam ships. Hold on.
Oh, okay, sure.
I'll be back.
Dan, is it still all right to request a portfolio review? How do we reach out to you? Facebook. It is all right, but please wait till we do more on the stream. The reason we haven't been doing any the past month is that everything's been really crazy. There's the shipping going on of the books, some other job stuff we can't talk about because of NDAs, and some very unexpected cool stuff that happened that we can talk about in maybe a month.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. We can't talk about it now, but it's
Actually,
really
wasn't even thinking about that till you
me
mentioned
neither.
it.
It's really out of left field and it's crazy. So hopefully we can talk about that next month. Not sure. But yeah, right now I do not have any time to do that. You'll understand why when we can finally talk about what's going on. But yeah.
Yeah, if anybody's gonna find out, it's gonna be the cream team.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Have you
not that it
ever
matters.
shown off your old sketchbooks of when you started and where you grew from? I don't have a ton of them left because a lot of them got destroyed. I've got some. I've got some of the stuff we did for our old comic in high school still.
Yeah, I brought up a little bit of that in the stream, the last stream that we did, and you can see some of my stuff in my tutorial that I did. It's up on YouTube. You can look it up. I think it's like one of the Bogwitch ones that I did. There's like one of the Bogwitch videos I have on YouTube. If you just look up Dave Raposa Bogwitch, there should be something. It might be there or it might be in the Eyeball Night one. I don't remember, but one of the videos that I put up has like a whole breakdown of my old stuff, and I have a few images in there of that, but I've never posted them up really anywhere, I don't think.
Guys, did you see the new Childish Gambino video? I have not.
No, haven't.
So basically a potential redo of the first 20 pages then, says Bad Dog. Yeah, if you want to. I'm just saying that if you're not used to doing traditional inking and you do a 60-page spread, you're going to be so much more comfortable doing it and better at it by the 60th page that the first page is going to look way worse.
Okay.
That's what happened in our first Steve book.
So what was the question again? I'm sorry. This was
Oh,
when I
that
was doing the spaceship.
It was just he's mostly a digital artist, but he wants to get better at traditional inking, so he's going to do a 60-page project, and he wanted to know if that was a recipe for disaster. And I said
No.
no, but your first pages will look way worse than your last pages.
I would say have a narrative going into it, but don't. Maybe do everything without saying anything. I think that would be cool. To
Hmm.
do like a whole comic where you're showing and not telling what's happening. If you don't have a plan already going into it,
Right.
it'll be better and more interesting. Because it's that rule of like, if you didn't say anything about what you were doing, you didn't open your mouth, it would be way better. Because people make up their own kind of thing of what's going on. I always wanted to do that for like an experiment of just a one-off story thing that didn't have anything. I think Adrian, Adrian, what's his face, did that with Hate
Oh,
or
Adrian
something.
Smith.
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. It just comes off as like cleaner when you do
Hmm.
that, because if you don't feel like you have a strong storytelling ability and you're mostly good at showing visuals, then that's a good way of doing it and actually having something like legitimate by the end of it. But
Oh, if it's a 60-page script, that doesn't mean it's going to necessarily be 60 pages of drawing.
oh, right.
Yeah, they could be
It's gonna
more or
be way
less.
more than that.
Yeah.
No, it's more.
Yeah.
It's much more.
Mighty Onions, great name, says, I was reading a thread on Twitter from Yoshi Yoshitani on setting prices for your art at conventions and for prints in general. Not sure if you've seen it, but if you haven't, she was talking about people underselling their art prints at conventions. What do you guys think a good starting point for a new artist is at conventions? Well, I hear that a lot. People used to say that with freelance of like, your people all these beginners are undercharging and it's ruining the economy of freelance. People used to say that shit all the time. The thing about conventions is like I can only talk about the ones I've been to obviously, but there's a pricing standard at things like New York Comic Con where everybody's pretty much charging somewhere between $10 and $20 a print. Very few people go over that. The people that do are usually like the Adam Hugheses and like people that have huge followings that are in Artist Alley for whatever reason,
Or if you
or
have like
like
fine art prints.
yeah, or like Paulo Rivera or something, or like super high quality prints. But yeah, like mostly it's $10 to $20 for prints, and that's just kind of the way it is. And if you're significantly higher than that without offering a reason, like a way higher quality print, or you've got some recognition attached to your name or something, or it's a limited edition print, or it's embossed or something, people aren't going to buy it because you're surrounded by cheaper options that are probably at a similar level of quality. Underselling, again, it's a ten to $20 a print typically. What most people do is they say prints are $15 or $20, and if you get three they take like $10 off the total, like three for 50 instead of 60. That's super common, but yeah, like
Yeah.
you have
I,
to read you have to read the room. It's like you can
right.
make more money off prints on a website because you're not surrounded by competition. That's why people like James Jean and Audrey Kawasaki can sell stuff for way more because you're on their site. You're not surrounded by other people selling stuff at competitive
I would
rates.
say this just like as a frame of reference. It's like Dr. Pepper and Dr. Thunder are never going to be the same price because Dr. Pepper's right next to it.
Hmm.
It's like if you're not that artist, like when people try and set a standard like that, it's like you have to recognize that, okay, but there's a much better artist right here.
Hmm.
So, like Dan's saying, in terms of read the room, it's like you might need to charge less in order
Yeah,
to survive.
yeah.
And you might
Especially if
actually
you
sell a lot more, by the way.
it's also incidental because it's going to be different every time. Like I was tabling with Nusha Gasemi, who makes a killing at con. She does super well. Her stuff's great, really well received. She has really cool stuff you can't find at every table. Um, but she got put right next to Sakimi-chan, and it's like if that happens and you're just shut out because you're like she's right between Sakimi-chan and Art Germ, and it's like okay, tons of people are coming to see the two of them. So what do? You either have to drop your prices or you have to make yourself more visible somehow because otherwise you're just going to get swallowed up because it's just, it's madness on both sides. No one's even going to know you're there. So it's situational. It's also like, read the room, figure out what people are charging, and be competitive.
Yeah, Hydrox cookies are never going to be the same
No.
price as Oreos.
But yeah,
It's just not good.
it's always weird to me how many professional people that are at a certain level give advice based on the level they're at that doesn't translate down to people that are starting out. Or it's like,
No.
that works for you. It doesn't work for the beginner though.
Yeah, and it's like that might make that artist frustrated, but fuck that artist. You need to survive.
Yeah.
Like, who cares? Like, there's no moral thing to this. It's business.
It's like a few years ago. God, this was cringy. I hate calling this out because a lot of the people involved are like, people I respect and friends and stuff, but like,
Here goes nothing.
here goes nothing. It's when the freelancers tried to unionize.
When did this happen?
Do you remember this? When they were making that like they were trying to make that like freelance.com site where everybody, they'd get companies roped in. Do you remember this?
Oh, I think I blocked that out. Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that.
companies, their whole idea was that companies could only post jobs on this site and only members of this site could apply for the jobs. And the idea was that they were going to unionize freelance to set standard rates so people would make more. And I remember telling the people that were doing it as it was happening, and they got really mad about this. I was like, this is impossible because freelance is international. And if a company like Pathfinder or something wants to hire an artist who's in another country who will do it for cheaper because the money goes farther in their country because of the exchange rate, they are allowed to do that. And you can't make that illegal. So this union's never going to work. Like, as long as internet freelance is an international thing, you can't unionize it because money means different things to different people in different countries. $100 is a lot for somebody who's in Bali, and it might not be a lot for somebody who's in the US. And it's like, so it's never going to work. And they were like, fuck you. You just want to keep, what do you want to keep working for these slave wages? And I'm like, dude, like, take a step back and look at how stupid this is. It's never going to work. But yeah, it's the same kind of thing where people want to make more money, so they apply this standard to everything that only applies to them, and
Yeah.
it's just so super dumb.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice, like, maybe someday something will happen where there'll be like
Right.
some justice for that. But like, as long as everybody's spread out all around the world, yeah, nothing you can do about it except just be, like art's one of the only things where somebody in another country really can't do. Like if they're
Right.
trying to outsource something to be like, oh, like this is going to be cheaper if we go with this, group. Like, okay, maybe. But think of like aesthetics and cultural sensibilities. Like, it's all different. So, what you bring to it with your style, how you think of your ideas based on where you're from, like, that's all going to change, how this product that's being made is taken. It's like somebody who has a grasp on the culture and is in that world doing that kind of art. It's like they're always going to have a leg up. And in terms of like a specific style or artist, it's like that's always going to be an individual thing. Like you have people that can mimic stuff, but you can't mimic everything. You can't mimic like the energy somebody has in their work,
Hmm.
or that like signature thing, their ideas, their concepts. Like, I don't know. I just feel like it's one of the only like kind of foolproof things like that where somebody's not going to come in and take your money, because unless you're just like a whatever artist, then that's not going to happen. Like if you, and I also see it with, and again, not to like call people out or anything, but I see a lot of people who don't try to push themselves anymore. And I always hear, or I always used to hear when I talk about that, of like, why should they feel pressured to do all this other stuff? Like, why should it be a pain? Because life is a pain. That's life, period. It's like you're going to get pushed out of any job you have
Hmm.
by some younger talent who's, hungry to do it.
By a Chad.
Yeah. And nobody owes you anything. Like, I hate that attitude. It's like nobody owes anybody anything. Sure, you might be this artist that people have heard about and knew about in like the 80s or whatever, but
Oh
that
my
doesn't mean
god.
it's going to work for you now
Okay, so
or
again,
that it has to.
I don't want to shit on these people, but it's too relevant, so it's like I have to. Do you remember that article that was going around a couple years ago by those fantasy Star Wars artist couple that was like fan art has killed our livelihood?
Right.
Stay out of conventions. No fan art. Fan art shouldn't be allowed at conventions because it's killing our livelihood.
Yeah, I
And it's
remember.
like, are you kidding me? Like you're just gonna rest on the laurels that you did some not that great Star Wars art in the '90s and think that you deserve a paycheck forever? Like what?
Yeah, that's one of the things that I really don't like is when people try to take just the changing climate of whatever business you're a part of and turn it into a personal attack.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's not. It doesn't have anything to do with that. It's like you stopped adapting, you stopped pushing yourself, you stopped trying, and that's fine. You're not always going to be that person, but recognize that. It's like things change all the time. It's like just because it's art, and specifically, it's like it's illustration, and a lot of times when that happens, it's like in that sense, yeah, of course it's going to change and evolve the same way any business does. It's not immune to that. Like styles shift, games go away. It's a constantly changing medium with all different kinds of influences. Things from all around the world participate in this. It's like it's not going to be something that you can just depend on. It's not that kind of job. Like you need to constantly be developing yourself. But yeah, that stuff
There
bugs
you go.
me.
A buddy and myself did some research on an artist who sells online just to see what the deal with it is. I think was what you're saying. We found that Ian McHugh sells all his prints for $10, so it's
Ian
a bit
McHugh.
confusing. McQuay,
Oh,
how do you say his name?
I don't know. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. You got to read the room. If someone famous with good stuff is selling stuff for $10, then I guess you're selling stuff for $10 or less.
That is true. There's all kinds of stuff too. It has nothing to do just with money either. It's like it's also what you choose to do, how you choose to do it. Uh, what's cool, like who you are, what's your style. It just doesn't matter. Like the money is kind of irrelevant in terms of art because you can sell. If you've seen fine art, it's like you can sell stuff that seems like nothing to you for really expensive.
Apparently, there's a Chrome plugin that lets you look at all the old sketchbooks on CA and have the images appear again.
Huh.
That's
Is it
cool.
called Fuck Photo Bucket?
It's some photo bucket plugin you can get on the Chrome store. People are looking at your old sketchbook right now with it.
Okay.
Looks
Cool.
cool. I got to go back and try that. Jay Kutz asks, would it suffice to say illustrators are worth what they can negotiate? Yeah, basically. Some people aren't great at negotiation though, so you got to like. Some people have to compensate for that because they just aren't good at talking to people.
Yeah, a big
But
part of it's being good at business.
yeah,
Unfortunately, it's like, and people don't want to do that.
you're always worth what you can negotiate. Some people have to find other avenues to it though, because they're just never going to be comfortable on the phone with people.
Yeah, you can talk yourself up. Like I've had people just like hear what I make and are like, "What? You make that?"
Well, then
It's like,
again,
yeah, I'm talking myself up. Like I'm the reason this is happening. It's not like some thing that everybody will get. It's like I negotiated this rate that I'm getting.
also keep in mind if you're starting out, a lot of the companies starting out have set rates that you can't negotiate.
Right.
But once you're past that into like freelance, you can negotiate pretty much everything. But yeah, like if you want to work for Magic or Dungeons and Dragons or something and you go in thinking like you're going to negotiate them up, you're not going to.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if there's a lot of demand, it changes it. So like,
Yeah.
yeah, different things for different artists in specific jobs. If you're like the only person that can do this one thing, then you're going to get a better rate, or at
Yeah.
least you have the opportunity to.
It's called the Photo Bucket Hotfix link. Cool.
Bless you.
Look at that big chunky launch ship.
Yeah.
Looks like a big video game controller floating in space. It's great.
It's fun though.
Never heard of Hydrex cookies. They must not have those in Washington. They have them everywhere.
You just gotta look.
You're just not looking, yeah.
You just gotta look harder.
Hydrex needs money from every state to stay afloat.
Yeah.
They're everywhere you can get them.
They're everywhere where
Bro,
books are sold.
bro, I'm in this trouble. I can draw for 10 hours straight with no problem as long as I do it out of mind or something, but when it comes to studying, I am out of breath in 2 hours maximum. And I'm not the best at studying too. Heard you need to study a lot, but if I do it really, really smart, does it count too? Well, I
Yes.
mean, yeah,
If it is.
try applying studies. Stop thinking of studying and drawing as two separate things and incorporate the studies into what you're drawing. Like draw something, do the sketch, and then make a model of it or something with clay, or find supplemental reference photos that are going to help you get the textures and the lighting right, and then study into the thing you're doing as a personal piece if you have to. If you really you're having a hard time doing standalone studies, there's other ways to get the vitamins in. But yeah.
Yeah, get creative. You can do all kinds of things. I did animation to study anatomy. And that was a cool way of doing it. Just drawing the anatomy in multiple poses, doing things. What's up, Wiko? Can you hear that? Wiko just
I
growling.
could. Yeah, I could hear it.
Some danger outside. So, what's your number one fear? Let's say we blew up on here. Like
I'm
suddenly we were really popular on Twitch. What would you be afraid of? Like those vlogger people.
afraid of.
Yeah, like what's the worst case scenario to you
Um
in terms of like exposure, you know?
I mean, I think the biggest thing I'm always afraid of is the thing people do now where the second a group decides they don't like you for whatever reason and they have to go after you, they dig into everything you've ever done or said on every platform and try to like turn you into something you're not.
Hmm.
I'm like super afraid of that because I don't know, I can't remember anything I've said anywhere, and like I'm sure none of it's crazy, but if you look hard enough, you can take anything out of context. And whenever I see people do that, it's like the thing Dick always talks about with the job lynch mob,
Right. Where
where
they just come after
they
your
just come after
income.
your life. Yeah, they come after your livelihood because they've decided that you're not an ally to whatever cause they're pushing. So it's like they'll go into anything you've ever said or done on any platform out of context and dox you and do all kinds of stuff just to get you deplatformed so you can't make money. And like I've seen people that I highly respect that I think are hilarious and really good people get deplatformed. So it's like if it can happen to them, it can happen to us, and it's like that's terrifying because it's you know you can't argue with the mob kind of thing.
All you can do is just completely agree with them
Yeah,
in
so
a joking way.
I'm sure like you know some stuff I've said somewhere someone will take out of context. I'm always afraid of that, but yeah, just because
Hmm.
that whole idea is horrifying to me because I could never do that to somebody.
Yeah, it is weird. Yeah, I'm always down for people saying whatever they want, even if it's the worst.
Yeah, yeah, I don't get it. Why? What are you afraid of? What brought that up?
Oh, nothing really. I mean, I was just thinking more of like the that thing that happened to the dudes from what's that channel? I don't watch them. I don't know what they are. It's not Rooster Teeth.
Tell me what happened.
It's something like that. It's where that guy showed up with the gun and went into the house,
Oh yeah, sure.
and like people were, you know, it was
I
like
guess
some fan or something.
I'm not as afraid of that because stuff like that's already happened to me.
That's true.
Like
Just
I've
not a
had
gun.
Yeah, like I had a girl break into my house and like sneak into my room when I was sleeping. So like that's why I've already been there. It's like I'm not afraid of drowning because I've drowned 3 times. It's like I've been through it. I don't know. It's some weird thing of like yeah, that was scary, but you know, I guess maybe with a gun it would be different.
Kim's here, by the way.
I can.
Hi.
What are you afraid of, Kim, if we get really big on Twitch?
I'm afraid of you drowning again.
No, don't
Four
be fed.
times is not
Survive
good.
3 times. I can't be drowned. It's official.
I
It's a rule.
don't know. I'm scared of a lot of things.
Like what?
Wait, hold on. That I like the Trace
Yeah.
says Dave's best tweet was when he had to Google chronic masturbator to see if he fell in that category. Yeah, that's what's
Great.
gonna come out.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. It's gonna come out.
I
I
already
wouldn't
know
even
what.
care if that came out.
I think I know what all this stuff is that would come out, and none of it's bad, but out of
No,
context, anything's bad.
I would just completely own it. I would take full responsibility for everything and go, I don't regret it. I like that I said it. Uh,
Yeah, it's
I just
super
want to be the
weird.
opposite and see what happens. Because I feel like everybody's apologizing for everything, and I don't ever want to apologize for anything
I'm sure.
and just go the other way.
I'm wondering how long it's going to take for it to go back because it's always on a pendulum.
What, the
It's
South
always
Park thing?
yeah, the South Park thing. I'm wondering how long it's going to take to go back to anybody can say anything and it's okay.
Last time it went for.
About 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah,
Looks like everything's getting all PC again. Yeah.
it'll
Yeah, I
go
don't
away.
know. It's crazy how how quick people can be okay calling people a Nazi and
Yeah.
like taking stuff out of context to call them like the fact that again whatever you think about this individual I'm about to bring up, that's your opinion
I
and
thought you were
it's
going to say,
fine.
whatever you think about the Nazis. All right.
No, no,
I am one.
whatever
So,
anyone listening thinks about Jordan Peterson, he's not a Nazi. Like he just isn't. And the fact that that many hundreds of thousands of people are okay saying he is crazy to me.
I like the Jiminy Glick thing where he was talking to, I think it was Mel Brooks,
Yeah.
and he was saying, "Why is everybody always knocking the Nazis?"
Right.
I want that to come back,
Right.
where people just talk like that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's super weird. Like seeing the lengths people are going to get like Dick's show canceled is fucking crazy to me.
It'll go back to just being some funny stuff here and there,
I hope so.
while we're all perfectly aware of how awful it is. Come on, spaceship.
So if anyone has any questions about our deepest fears,
Yeah, I'm more afraid of somebody like coming here and killing Kim and I.
sure.
Mostly me.
Yeah, yeah,
Mostly Kim.
I don't care. I just know that I'm gonna have to. If that happens, I have to fight somebody to the death.
Hmm. How does Twitch work in terms of money? Like, I know some of the ways folks get paid, but do you know how some creatives work with Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, etc., to its best capacity? Well, Twitch, you can have subs, obviously. You can get donations on Twitch. So, a lot of people, like, if they do fundraisers and stuff, you can just donate money flat out through Twitch and Streamlabs.
Sponsors?
What other platforms
Yeah,
to do
definitely
that?
sponsors.
Sponsors, yeah. Same thing with YouTube. You can monetize YouTube unless they flag your video and say that it's not, fit for monetization. If it's like, if you show anything that can be deemed offensive or political, they'll demonetize it typically. You can also get sponsors on YouTube to partner with and do videos. Like if you ever watch any, I don't know, like I think every episode of Hot Ones is sponsored.
Yeah,
There's a bunch of YouTube shows that do sponsorships. Binging with Babish just did one where he's sponsored by a grill company. I don't know how to monetize Instagram really.
you got to be a
Same.
woman,
Yeah.
Sure.
pretty
Same.
much.
Hashtag ad.
Well, there's a quote that's gonna come back to haunt Dave.
What?
No, I'm just kidding.
You just got to be a woman.
Well, I'm just saying, I've never really seen anybody sponsored on Instagram that wasn't like a model of some sort, either guy or girl. Have you?
Incel.
I'm a Chad.
Incel. You got to be a woman to make money on Instagram. It's not even fair.
You got to be a bitch. A cold-hearted bitch that just doesn't care about us guys.
Those looks are going to fade in 10 years. Then who's going to care?
And I'll still be a smart programmer.
I'll kill you now.
And hacker, I hacked Target's mainframe.
Hi,
Discounts.
everybody. Have either of you catched or watched Ninja Batman yet? I could not stop thinking about this comic and laughing the entire time. I wanted to see it until I found out that it's modern day Batman going back to feudal Japan. I thought it was just going to be a Japanese Batman. And then I kind of didn't want to see it. But maybe I'll watch it. The idea of, I don't know, maybe that would be funnier.
What?
If it's self-aware, that would be great. If he's like, I'm in feudal Japan, like, you know, I don't know. I just thought it was going to be like an actual Japanese take on Batman.
Yeah.
But the fact when I saw the trailer where the Batmobile is driving through a Japanese town, I was like, in like, you know, samurai times, I was like, okay, it's kind of stupid.
I always like the sincerity in things. So it always bums me out when things aren't like totally sincere and like their ridiculousness. It's like you don't own it completely.
Andrew Gibbons asks, Dave, is there any fetish Kim could be keeping secret that you don't think you could handle? And Kim, same question about Dave.
Puke.
Oh, yeah, that's a bad one.
Murder, pee. Red
Murder
rooms.
pee. What's murder pee?
I'm just, there's a comma there.
Oh, okay, murder and pee.
Yeah, murder, comma.
I was like, what
pee.
the fuck is murder pee?
You've never done that?
Drowning somebody with pee?
It's where you pee on somebody and then shoot them in the head.
Mighty Onion subscribed with a tier 1 sub.
Oh, what? That's a hefty helping of cream. I think I'm going to have to take a sip of my coffee.
Kim, what are you afraid of Dave admitting is a secret fetish of his?
Absolutely nothing. He's been more than honest ever since we met.
It's true.
It's just like what you were talking about earlier, how you said that you're just comfortable talking with people.
Yeah.
And people think that you're insane.
Yep.
Or that girl said that.
Yes.
Do I seem
She
insane?
definitely did say that.
Yeah, no. He's been honest from the very beginning.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, there you go.
poop fetish all the way.
Yeah.
Wow.
No. So I would be more surprised if he could keep a secret.
That's a good point. That's a very good. Yeah, I can
From
see
me.
that.
From me.
Yeah, I can see that.
I know, I say everything that's on my mind.
Yeah.
Me and Dave have 6-hour conversations sometimes where I go, oh, there's nothing we haven't shared. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How did we get to this point? Don't forget the milk, Dave.
Have I
Says
ever
Dark.
shared, have I ever said things where it's like too much?
To me?
I mean, I guess I can go either.
Keep my mouth shut.
Either.
It's getting too creepy.
Dan, you and I are one.
Yeah, we're Dave's soulmate. Split
To
in two.
me?
He's just married to both of us.
Platonic and romantic duties split down the middle.
Yep.
To me? Or me?
That was funny.
I'll never forget the day I said I'm Dave's best friend. And then Kim looked at me and said, I'm Dave's best friend. And I went, you can have it. No, he's never said anything to me that was too much, ever. Because we've shared everything horrible since high school. What about you, Kim?
I don't think so. I mean, every once in a while I get surprised, but it's not because of what he says. It's usually how he says it. So like if he tells me a joke, that's just a horrible joke. Not like dark or anything. It's just a bad joke.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
Every
I'm more
day.
surprised that he told me upon awakening, because he didn't even have time to really like register that he was awake, and he's already telling me a joke. So that's more surprising than
She's saying I dream in jokes
Yeah,
and I wake up and tell them to her,
yes.
That's good.
which is weird. Happens a lot. I had a dream last night that me and my dad were eating dinner in the middle of a tornado, and
Great.
and we said let's just stay out here and laugh about it, and we just sat in the middle of a tornado going ha 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 eating dinner outside. It was really weird. I don't know what that means. I just wanted to share it before I forgot it.
It's quality. A couple questions. How long do you think it's going to be before full-on animal sex is accepted?
I have no
I
idea.
give it 20 years.
You think so?
At
No, I
this
don't think
rate.
I don't think it's ever going to be accepted.
No, I think
I really don't.
I think among a certain like
Well, among a
some,
certain group, it's already accepted.
well, yeah, because people think that they're like turtles.
Yeah.
Excuse me. What do you mean?
You think you're a turtle.
Darkstorm says, when are you guys going to start a community Discord? It's a big plus for stream communities. We get this question all the time. It's once we figure out how to use it. I think we already did set one up. We just never shared it with
I
anybody.
think our fellow creamster Adrian set one up,
Adrian set one up, right?
and Adrian's here, except I don't even know what a Discord is.
Is freelance work your largest revenue stream? If so, could your books, Twitch, or any other personal output surpass it? Books are our biggest revenue stream by far.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, books since the first Kickstarter, books have been our livelihood for sure. Freelance is a second. I don't think Twitch could be unless we blew up and had like hundreds of thousands of followers.
Yeah, if we did books all the time, then that'd be something.
That being said, this
But-
year we got approached to do two things that we still can't talk about because both of them are NDA protected, that are comparable revenue to the books. But hopefully we can talk about those later in the summer. I think we can talk about one next month and one towards the end of the summer.
Yeah, we have to wait a while. We don't really know, and we don't want to violate anything.
Yeah. But yeah, for sure, books have been the main thing.
That's definitely the most consistent thing for us.
Not soon enough, am I right, fellas? Yeah. Yes. Have you ever stopped working on a piece because it was coming out really well? No.
What? I don't
No.
understand the question.
It's the fear of like this is going really well and I don't want to fuck it up, I think. I think is what they're getting at.
Okay. No.
I hate having unfinished work because it feels like a weird open loop thing that stresses me out. It's more stuff to think about subconsciously.
Yeah, I think I get what you're saying. Like, if I didn't know how to finish a piece, I would maybe feel that way. But I think I've done it enough where I don't really, it doesn't bother me. Like, I never really get that feeling of, like a fear of that.
Mm-hmm. Des Dave is asking. I'll give you a link. And books, if I may ask. Steve Lichman, Volume 1 and 2, of course. A combined 700 pages of comics of Steve and his friends down in the dungeon.
It's true. This is true.
There's a link, stevelichman.com. Available for pre-order while supplies last. The book twos have sold out. You can only get the combo packs now because we didn't plan ahead.
This is also true. It's very true. Do you have any questions, Kimmy?
Any questions for you guys
Sure.
or in general?
In general.
Sure. Anything.
How come land is so expensive?
It's a lot of people.
To quote Lex Luthor,
Go ahead.
it's the one thing they're not making any more of.
Oh, okay.
Unless they start making them on the ocean,
That's true. Yeah.
in which case, fuck
I only know that.
you,
I
Lex
only know that
Luthor.
quote because my dad said it to me as a kid.
Your dad's fucking boring.
I said, "Dad, why did you buy these cranberry bogs?" And he said, "It's land, son." To quote Lex Luthor, "I hate you, Superman." No, that's a very good point, Dad.
Did he really?
No, he really did give me that Lex Luthor quote as a kid.
Man.
Yeah.
Were you like, watch out, Dad?
I
I
was
might
like,
kill you on this cranberry bog.
Dad, but that movie's fucking boring. That movie sucks, Dad. It's
You
all
like,
about Batman.
to quote the Street Sharks, you idiot.
To quote the Street Sharks. How do you feel comfortable taking the risk of creating so many pages of comics without knowing for certain it will pay off?
You
Uh,
go,
if it's fun for us, that's the most important thing.
I, yeah, I had this like question forever ago. I think I brought it up actually on the last stream, but I'll bring it up again because let's fill that time. Back a while ago, I did an interview with these guys, and they were asking the same kind of thing of like, how do you know something's going to work for everybody before you do it? And they're like, don't you need to test it? Whatever. So, in a sense, yes, you can do that. We didn't do that on purpose. It was just online. So, like, we did a, release of Steve on the internet, and we had, 90 or not 90 pages at the time, but like, how many was it? 60? 60 pages. We had 60 pages of material up on the internet. And based on that, people were into the ideas. And, before then, we had done a bunch of pages anyway. But, like, you kind of just go off of what do you like. If you like doing something, then it doesn't matter. That means that there's an audience. It's like, if you're into something and you're genuinely having a good time, like me and Dan, we laugh at our own jokes, which is healthy.
Yeah.
And
Well, we laughed at stuff that is funny, and then we turned it into a joke.
yeah,
Because we don't laugh at our own jokes. We
No.
laugh at situations that are hilarious to us, and then we find a way to turn them into jokes.
but what I mean is that like we take these things that we like, stuff we think is funny, make it into a comic, and then if we're enjoying the process, that's enough for us. It's like, okay, it'll work. Like if we're dreading something or we're struggling through something, it's probably not going to work, and you probably need to rethink it. And that's kind of how we've done the whole thing. And the way we kind of look at it is if it doesn't work or like things fall apart, like it's okay because we did all we could to be ourselves.
Right.
And that's what matters to us, is that we were honest. We said the stuff we actually thought was funny. We didn't hold back. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, then people don't like us, and that's fine. And that's kind of where we're at. It's like we are always looking to improve, and we always are trying to improve with like writing and joke telling and obviously like pacing and things in the comics. But we don't go way out of our way to like play to anybody but ourselves. It's like everything about the stories, everything about the art, it's just what do we like. And if we like it, then that's all that matters. If we like it, then other people will like it.
So here's the thing I'm most afraid of, to go back to the question you were asking before,
Sure.
is if we ever got big, partnered with somebody else, whether it's a distributor or a comic company or whatever, that eventually stepped in to help us out, and then they did the thing where they go, oh, well, you got to change this.
Yeah.
Oh, this isn't going to work. I am terrified of that.
That's why we're not going to do that.
Yeah, just go, no.
We're just going to,
Nope.
like, if somebody did that, we'd just say, oh, okay, we'll just go back to doing our own thing.
Right.
As hard as it is to do it ourselves, we get to say what goes in. And the things that we put in the book, like at least the newest one, it's a lot of stuff that we probably wouldn't be allowed to say anywhere.
So Das Dave again is asking, but how do you know that there is someone who is interested in your art or whatever the object is? Well, the thing is that if the internet's proven anything, it's sort of like we were talking about earlier with the weird fetish stuff. If you're into something, there's 100,000 other people that are into it, minimum.
Yeah.
No matter what it is, no
It's
matter
a
how
huge
crazy you
group.
think it is or weird it is. So if it's something as accessible as a joke or a pop culture reference like this comic or something, you can rest assured there's going to be millions of people. It's just getting them to see it. But like, you're never going to, if you are interested in something, guaranteed there are hundreds of thousands of other people also interested in it, because that's
People
just human
people
nature.
fuck dogs.
Yeah.
Like, think about that for a second. People
Yeah.
fuck dogs, and there's a community for it.
Mm-hmm.
You can succeed.
People know the names of all the orcs in the Warcraft movie.
That is true.
That's a thing. So like you're fine.
Wow.
Even I don't know the names of all the orcs in the Warcraft movie.
And he's a loser.
I'm a huge loser. I know like Thrall's name, and that's it.
It's true, though. I mean, really, if you're worried, like, whenever you're worried about something succeeding, think of all the things that suck that you've seen.
Yeah.
Always
And how many
think of
people are
that.
into those things.
Put it into context. Be like, how many TV shows have I seen that blow? How many movies have I seen that are just like, oh, what? Why'd you do that? It's like, that happens over and over and over. It's like, if those people get opportunities to do the things that they're doing, you can do something. It's like, you can fail along the way too. You don't need to be perfect when you start. Nobody's perfect. You just learn and grow, and it happens organically. Like, you don't need to necessarily worry every step of the way of like, will my thing succeed? Who's it for? Just concentrate on yourself, improving yourself, and trying to get down what you do.
People fuck dogs. Think about it. You can succeed. Dave Raposa.
That's
quoted that.
another thing that's gonna come back to haunt me.
That's great. No, yeah, it's like it's the yeah. To answer the question in the chat, yeah, it is like the follow your passion thing, but don't expand from the word passion to just what do you enjoy. What's fun? If it's fun for you, it's probably going to be fun for other people.
Someone asked if I make you put the toilet paper in a certain direction.
No.
I don't actually. Dave forces me to put it in over because that's the one thing I don't have a preference on.
There you go.
The toilet paper has to be facing you, not away from you.
I'll tell you,
Are you
Dead
out of your
Man's
mind?
Pixel. Dead Man's Pixel is nominating me for Orc Chieftain as a callback. I'll tell you what's funny about that Orc Chieftain thing is after that stream where I talked about that, I realized that one of my favorite people, not just artists, people, Marko Derjevic, is making a whole book about Orc Chieftains.
That is true.
And I didn't think of that while we were streaming. But in his defense, they're the best looking Orc Chieftains you've ever seen.
Yeah.
But it's literally a whole book of Orc Chieftains.
It's called Orkin.
Yep.
Orkin, man.
So you know. Any other fun questions?
Someone said, "Dear Kim, can you introduce Dan to some of your female friends?" I mean,
She has.
Yeah, I've introduced him to everyone. My
They're
family.
all relatives, though.
Yep, my family. You said exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
My mom, my dad.
My mom,
Yeah.
my cousins, my aunts.
Mm-hmm.
All my married
Right.
friends. You've met
Yeah, all the
them.
married friends. She's got some really, really attractive married friends. Let me
Yeah.
tell you.
Yeah, they're pretty, aren't they?
All Kim's friends that are in relationships are 10 for 10.
What about the ones that are not?
I mean, they're pretty good too, but the ones that are taken are just like flawless.
Of course. It's always the ones that are taken.
I won't say specific names.
I already know who you're talking about.
I know you know who I'm talking about. I've brought it up before.
They're already taken.
Yeah.
I just like that.
Oh, this out of context. Andrew Gibbons art says, "First time I saw bestiality, I couldn't look at dogs the same for a while, but I also just bought a puppy."
Yeah, man.
It's the way you phrase that.
The first time.
Do we have any favorite traditional artists at the moment? I mean, yeah, James Jane's usually the answer, but we've been last week specifically for reasons we can't share. Me and Dave went on a nostalgic trip back to all the fantasy artists of the 80s and 90s that we saw as kids,
Oh
and
yeah.
we found some magic.
Yeah, there's some real good stuff out there.
Some
What's his
really good
name?
stuff.
Who's that dude?
I'm trying to
His
remember.
name's like, oh, I fucking hate the shape tool in this program. Um,
Trying to remember his name. I still have his stuff open.
it's Keith Parkinson,
Yes,
something
I
like
think so.
that.
Something like that.
It's that, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
So he is great in terms of like the weirdly overly detailed stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty awesome. Looking at his stuff a lot. Looking at a few other guys, but mostly him. Trying to find the perfect person who like encapsulates that whole
That
time
whole
period.
era before fantasy had standards.
Yeah, it's like that period of like painters being fantasy artists, but like too nerdy. I don't know. It's really interesting. It's pretty cool. Like that's probably my favorite. It's so honest because it's like nobody's really like doing it yet, and
Mm.
they're like the only people that are really just like all in on this fantasy thing.
I love how close this is to like a serious art school quote. Brennan Murphy says, "Yes, Parkinson's lizard man illustration is so surreal by modern standards."
Oh,
Like I'm
that's
standing in
so
a
funny.
gallery. Like I'm standing in a gallery with you looking at it,
Drinking wine.
talking about how it is and under modern standards.
You gotta go. Yes. Yep. Oh, this right here.
By modern standards, this lizard man is quite surreal. Sunny Boy asks if we can tell him some gold stories from our childhood. We could. We'd take forever though.
I talked about the
That's a
abduction
whole-
last time.
Which abduction?
The clowns.
Which one?
Which one, Dave?
The clowns that tried to get me.
Oh, right.
Clowns.
Yeah, the homeless clowns. So, yeah, they got me. The clowns got me. If you want to check it out, that was on the last stream. It was many, many hours long.
Me and my cousins once buried some treasure in the woods and made a map to it by putting markers on all the trees
Cool.
and cutting paths through the shrubs and everything and drawing all the map stuff down on how to get to it.
Uh-huh.
And then developers came in and cut all the trees down. And now there's just a chest full of treasure underneath some asshole's house in Wareham, Massachusetts.
Stupid fucking
It's
kids.
so funny thinking about that.
I love
How
that.
excited we were to draw this map that doesn't even work anymore. The whole forest is gone. Great.
Oh, the ancient treasure.
There's no better metaphor for growing up than losing the magic of childhood. The drawing a map to treasure you buried and then having the whole forest get cut down. Ah. Oh yeah, that one where my dad gave me a machete. It wasn't a knife, it was a machete. When I was 7 and told me if I saw any snakes to kill them.
Yeah. I
He
remember
said,
that
"Don't
one.
think twice about hurting them because they won't think twice about hurting you."
You went cool. Cool.
Cool, Dad.
Dope.
What about you, Kim? Any good stories from childhood?
Scary ones.
I don't think so. Not off the top of my head. It's harder because I mean, I'm here by myself. As
Sure.
far as like, you and Dave can go back and forth about what you guys experienced together.
True.
Yeah, there was a murder down the street from us.
Whoa.
Yeah. And it was like one of those love triangle murders where the guy comes home, finds his wife in bed with another guy, shoots both of them, and then shoots himself.
Oh, murder suicide. Right.
Yeah. So, but it was just like a house just down the corner, down like not towards the end of the block, completely.
We all know.
You know. Yeah, you know.
We all know.
We all know that neighborhood.
So they had a chain link fence around the front yard,
Mm-hmm.
and we would just play in the street kind of near their house, and our friend's bike kept getting put in their yard, and he was like, what is going on? Like, is somebody just messing with me? And then it happened like 2 or 3 times. And then later on we found out that there was a murder. It was the weirdest thing, like weirdest coincidence.
Why was it being put in the yard?
They don't know.
It's great.
That is
Ghosts. They're
weird.
ghosts.
That's fantastic.
The ghosts of the dead
Find me.
people.
That's great.
I'm fucking dead.
Somebody smashed all of the side view mirrors on the cars that were
Murders are
facing
like-
outward.
Murders are the weirdest thing when you're a kid in like a small town.
Yeah,
What was the
Everybody-
mirrors thing about?
I don't know. Vandalism.
Yeah,
Just living in the hood.
vandalism.
What was it about? Vandalism, I'm pretty sure. I know.
Pretty sure that was their motive. There was a house that got struck by lightning twice, and that same house, 2 of the girls got, I don't know, sexually abused somehow by their neighbor.
Whoa.
Yeah. It's just like the worst luck in that one household.
That's pretty great.
Yeah. There was a
wonder
kid.
what the connection was.
I didn't grow up in woods or anything, but there was a kid who lived in front of us.
I can't
And-
imagine. Okay, I can't imagine growing up out in Colorado.
I mean, we have fields. I don't know.
I know that's the thing is like being able to see forever is so weird, even as an adult.
Yeah, but it's the opposite for me. You do realize that it's just what you're used to, right?
No, I know that. I'm just saying, like, I totally get that. Like, where we grew up wasn't normal. It's just what we grew up with. But
Even
like,
when I go there now, I get really claustrophobic. Like I feel
Yeah.
like I can't breathe because I
I
can't
know,
see
because
anything.
there's trees everywhere, and when I go out there, I don't know what the reverse of claustrophobia is, but I get that. where I'm like,
Claustrophobia. Yeah.
whatever it is, I can't stand it. Where I'm like, I can see 100 miles.
Well, I think it's also the elevation that makes you so that you can't breathe.
That's true. I'm also overweight.
You
so-
start feeling lightheaded because of you're just up
Yeah.
so high in elevation.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. This little kid. I mean, he was my age.
This
He-
dude, this little kid, an old man.
Yes. He had a machete and he was just like slicing the tree in the front yard with it, just swinging it around, just broad daylight. And Dave and I always talk about having a yard and having a backyard specifically where you could be a kid and do embarrassing things and you don't have to worry about being judged or, just being awkward.
Right.
Yeah,
this
being
kid was
playing
being-
Power Rangers by yourself.
Yeah, but this kid was being super violent in the front yard with a machete by himself. Broad daylight. Didn't care.
We're like, dope.
Yeah.
That's the house to avoid.
Mm-hmm.
That's that kid.
And
Darkstorm
then,
99 asks. Sorry.
I was just
Keep
going to say
going.
that there was one more person who had moved in kind of towards like the end of us living at that house, and they bought a school bus. They put it in their backyard. Their
I hate
backyard
that.
faced an open field, so they knocked down their fence, and they had 2 of the scariest, like, big, mean dogs. And our friend lived next door, and we'd always, like, jump the fence if we threw the ball over the fence. And we were always super scared that those dogs were going to get us because they were just, like, always out in that open field.
What was
Yeah.
it about houses that had broken down school buses being the worst? Because I felt that same way as a kid too.
It's like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre
Yeah.
kind of vibe.
It's a certain specific kind of shitty.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's just like it's too, I don't know. It feels like you should know better.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
it's like a strange
To be a person who's okay waking up
Unawareness.
every day and looking out the back window and seeing a broken down school bus, like, there's something wrong with you.
And it becomes like overgrown.
Yeah,
like
and full of bees.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
The bees specifically.
There was a girl who also, she her parents did drugs. It was like her mom and her stepdad, and she kind of like did this weird thing before we went in the house of like, okay, let's just go straight to my room. It's downstairs. Just don't look at my parents. Like, they're there. Just don't look at them because they work nights and they're just really tired. But then, like, we walked by, and of course I looked because I was like 11, and I just saw needles and drugs just lined up on their coffee table.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's scary.
Arcane Chroma
Sad.
just subscribed with Twitch Prime.
What? Primetime cream? Thank you so much. You're beautiful.
Darkstorm99 asks, if DC and Marvel came to you to make them a crossover comic, Batman, Superman plus Iron Man, Captain America, with full creative freedom, would you take the job?
That's a good question.
Depends what the pay was, because comics don't usually pay a ton.
Yeah, if it was like all right,
It would be fun to do. Like, it'd be fun to do. It's just comic writing and pages don't pay much.
King Kaiser just subscribed with Twitch Prime.
Oh!
Kaiser?
King Kaiser just subscribed with Twitch Prime.
Oh! You sure it's not Nguyen?
Yep.
It's one of my shameful moments. In a room full of people when Kim goes, Dan, come on. Nguyen? And I go, what? And you go, it's Nguyen. I go, oh, I didn't know.
No, that you shouldn't be ashamed about that. That's another language.
No, I'm ashamed of it.
You should be
Just
ashamed
like-
that you
just
call
like
what you
I'm
call
ashamed of-
Estes Park.
Quinoa. And Estes
Nagubu.
Park, yeah.
I don't-
Emilio Estevez Park. Yeah, that's what you call it. I mean, I'd love to do that crossover DC and Marvel thing. I'd love to write that and do it as a comic on here. That'd be super fun. So yeah, I guess the answer is yes, we'd like to. It's just the comics don't pay a ton.
Context is a big part of it. If that context is there where we get to do it on our own terms, like, hey, let's just go for it, then yes.
Alexander the Great Art just subscribed with Twitch Prime. Oh,
Will you guys stop
Oh.
subscribing?
No.
Jeez.
Keep subscribing.
I feel like my penis is about to burst.
whoa.
It has nothing to do with subscriptions. I just really have to pee super bad. But the subscriptions are nice. Thank you very much.
You know that thing at night where you wake up and you go, I really gotta pee, and you go, but I could probably go back to sleep.
Yes.
You try to figure out what the right choice is.
It's
never go back to sleep.
Yeah.
It's
I know.
always get up.
Always get up and pee. But the reason I'm asking is the amount of time you waste laying there trying to convince yourself that sleep is an option until
Oh, yeah.
inevitably you get up and go pee. You always end up getting up and going and peeing.
I think I've noticed too that if I don't get up and go pee, I'm just wide awake.
Yeah, thinking
if
about
if
peeing.
I go pee sleepily, then I can go back to sleep more easily.
What I do is I close my eyes and I walk to the bathroom
There you go.
and then I pee. Because I just try to stay in the sleep as much as possible. And there you go. Quick tip.
You pee in the
Darkstorm
bed.
says, real
Yeah,
talk.
pee
Are
in
you
the
going to
bed.
make a Kim tab for the bottom corner? You did one for Dan. That's a good point. Mine's not even up.
Yeah, Dan's not even here. I switched
even
it
here.
because I thought I was going to be alone last week. And I didn't put it back yet. But I
Make
got
a
to do
Kim
that.
tab. Make 2 dog tabs. We need to make more emotes. I always forget.
Yeah, definitely.
This page is looking good with that atmosphere.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Yeah, make a Kim tab.
Yeah, I'll do that.
That'd look good.
We just have to have I got to set up another one of those OBS things.
I don't know, right? Bog Sloth wants a tab too. We'll think about it. If Capcom hired you to work on any of their IP with creative freedom, what would you enjoy working on the most?
Don't even.
Oh, that's
I
a.
have so many.
There's so many, dude.
So many of those I would want to do. I don't know where to start with those.
I mean, like Mega Man Legends 3 would be dope to make.
Yeah.
Demon's Crest would be sick to bring back. I'd love to make a new version of Ghosts and Goblins. It's just a great title that they haven't done anything with.
Ghosts and Goblins.
Did they do King of Dragons?
Yeah, they did King of Dragons.
King of Dragons is great.
Oh, okay.
Dan, I'm gonna leave in 5 minutes. If you have any questions, ask them now. Go. Now.
You? Where are you going in 5 minutes?
I gotta go take a test.
Oh, what's the test on?
It's like a benchmark test for psychiatric nursing.
Sure.
Yeah.
How many more tests do you have to take?
Like in my life?
No, like like, is it semester based? Like, are you gonna have a summer break at all, or are you going through the summer?
Um, yes, I'm gonna have a summer, but I'm taking online classes and a clinical.
Jeez.
But, I
He
have
works hard.
today and tomorrow for tests, just one each day, and then I have a project that's due Wednesday, and then I'm done with the semester. And then I start my summer semester May 14th, which would be in 1 week.
Oh no,
Yep.
that's awful.
Never stops.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try making your tomato stuff tonight.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm gonna try. It's not gonna be as good. I already know that. I just
Well,
gotta see if I can get. I gotta see if I can get closer than last time. Last time I used a little too much sugar.
I definitely take, blame for that because I couldn't give you a real recipe.
It's fine. Makes it more of a challenge.
Did you eat all the stuff that I sent?
Yes, I did. It
All
was
the soups
delicious.
and stuff? Okay.
It was fantastic.
I'm gonna pee.
Okay.
You can talk. Dan. Sorry. It's just an instinct.
The answer to that question is there's too many Capcom IPs we'd want to work on.
Am I
So
gonna draw?
it'd be amazing.
Dave went to go pee, so I'm just here.
Sure. Do you want to draw on the bottom panel?
No, Dave said don't draw on that layer.
Oh, okay.
He specifically said don't draw on that layer as he ran
Got
to the
it.
bathroom.
Understood. I gotta go in like 5 minutes too.
You too.
Yeah, I gotta go to the gym.
Nice.
Gotta go to the gym. Do that whole thing. What's new with you? What's going on?
I'm just in a million weddings, so I've just been spending all of my money
Oh.
on wedding stuff. So
Right.
dresses, planning bridal showers, nothing that's exciting for anyone in this chat.
When do they start? Like, when are you gonna start going to weddings?
June. So like end of June.
Mm-hmm.
There's one at the beginning of July, beginning of August, and then it's in September, and then one next year, February.
Cool. Jeez.
A ton.
That's like when you guys got married. I had to do like 6 weddings in 3 months.
Oh my goodness, I know.
And like yours was the only one I cared about, but I still had to go to these other ones. It was oh my god.
Well, and ours required travel, like
Yeah.
extra travel, so.
And I was living in that dope house in the middle of nowhere for like what, almost a full month. I
Which
feel like I
one?
was out there forever.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, you were,
Yeah.
weren't you?
I was out there for almost 4 weeks. Yeah.
Yep. I know, that
house
was great.
Wow, that was the quietest place I've ever been. That was like alarmingly spooky.
Yeah, that was. But it was
Do you guys
nice.
do you guys still have wedding cake left?
No. Yes. Yes. It's frozen. Although we got because I was thinking about it. I had the person who baked it. We had her bake us another one for our anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
Just this past September, so we had
That's
that.
great.
It was good.
Is she copying your cake for her wedding?
Oh, no one is. No. Mm-mm.
Okay. I thought somebody might be.
No, I think they wanted to, but they didn't have the hookups.
If anyone listening doesn't know, Dave and Kim had an amazing cake for their wedding that the venue decided not to serve, so they sent them home with cake for 200 people.
Yep. And it was a red velvet cheesecake with chocolate
Because-
ganache and Italian buttercream.
Yeah, it was amazing. And Dave said to them specifically, serve it and then box the rest and we'll take it. And all they heard was box it and we'll take it. And why even bring a cake?
The best part was like we were still sleeping the next day, and Dave's brother was staying with us, and we wake up to a picture sent to our phone of him eating cake. So he was the first person to eat our wedding cake in our kitchen the next day.
It was amazing. I remember Dave calling me and he was like, "Do you want to come over?" And I was like, "Yeah, what do you want to do?" And he was like, "I don't know, I could eat some cake."
You had some, right?
Yeah, I was just sitting in your kitchen with Dave and we were eating cake. And I was like, I'm so sorry.
It's
Like, it was delicious, but it was just like so much.
yeah, it was so good, especially when we like warmed it a little bit with some coffee because that chocolate ganache just like melted. Oh my god!
You know what I was
can't even think
craving
about
the
it
other
right now.
day was that roast pig you guys did.
Oh my god, that was so
That was
good too.
so good.
I liked how much your dad was like super into it too.
Oh yeah, anything remotely barbecue, he's like obsessed with.
Right.
Yeah, that thing was delicious.
Hefe's bro asked what my favorite movie is. What is my favorite movie?
I don't know. You're not really like a movie person.
That's not true. It's not that I'm not a movie person. It's just that I haven't been exposed to a lot of movies, and
I just mean
can
that,
never
like,
remember them.
That's
Kim's
what I
favorite
mean.
movie. Kim's favorite movie is Grave of the Fireflies.
No,
No.
it's that made me cry so much.
Can't.
I know it was actually a really good movie. I don't know. It kind of changes. I think Fly Me to Polaris is one of my favorites. It's a love. It's like a love Korean movie. And,
I love Koreans movies.
It's an I love Korea
It's a
movie.
Korean love movie. I don't
It's
know.
a propaganda
It's
film.
a romantic.
Yeah,
movie.
right. It's a film about our glorious leader.
A movie to love Korea.
Her second favorite is Stalin's Rise.
I don't. What is my favorite movie? I mean, Totoro is always one of the best.
Totoro's good.
I feel like I just said like something recently that was like my favorite movie, but who knows? I used to really love the movie Grease.
There you go. Sure.
I mean, all the Disney movies. Not all of them. I have a favorite. Beauty and the Beast is one of my favorites.
Yeah,
I thought it was
Beauty and the Beast is great.
really spooky.
Yeah, I miss those movies. Want them to come back.
Kim, what would you do if another Dave walked in and said, "That's not the real Dave. You have to kill him," and gave you a gun? I'd shoot myself.
Whoa.
That's cool.
Dan, what is a hidden meaning behind
Whichever
that?
Dave didn't want you to kill the other Dave would be the fake Dave.
Oh, are you talking about Labyrinth?
No. I'm just saying that you would want to see the other you die. That's how I know it was you.
Yeah, that's true. One of us has to die.
Yeah.
If I get to die without dying, that's cool.
I would just kill all of us then.
There you go.
That's a good one.
Um,
I would kill Dan and then kill myself.
Yeah, there you go.
I turned it. But I wasn't one of them. I know, Dan.
okay, I'm gonna go.
Later.
take my
I gotta
class.
go too, actually.
All right. Guess we're leaving our husband.
Yeah. We're leaving our husband. Been on here for 2 hours, though.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you want to keep going, or?
I just want to finish these explosions.
Okay. I can hang out for 5 more minutes, then I gotta go.
Okay, bye guys.
Bye, Kim.
Kimmy, good luck.
Love you.
Love you.
If and when Acceptable Comics expands and accepts submissions, what genres would you look for under your brand? Is there a publisher that's comparable to what you want Acceptable Comics to be? As long as it's like interesting and like, I don't know, that's really there's no genre we don't like. It would just have to be something that we think is cool.
Image is probably the closest.
Yeah.
Just want people to retain their rights.
Yeah.
That's really it. We
In
want.
terms of like genre, there's no like genre limitations. But
No.
yeah.
Forgot to put in the space explosion, so doing that now. Space fireworks.
There you go.
And
Very important to get those in.
gotta do the space lasers right now.
Adding that background and atmosphere really added a lot to the turtles. Really put it in perspective.
I'm glad you like it.
And really makes me feel like I'm there in the Z quadrant. I can't stop thinking about Capcom stuff I'd want to work on.
Oh, I know.
But Capcom has the best stuff.
They really do.
Dave, have you ever tried the academic way of studying anatomy and faces with all the measuring and that stuff?
Yeah, kind of. It's not like I don't think that's like a valid way of doing it. I just like I don't really do it that much because I'm trying to do more like stylized things now and going off of like what I understand, but also trying to add my own thing.
Will we watch E3 together? I don't know. I mean, if people want to hang out and watch it, maybe. I'm
We'll just
definitely
be
gonna.
less negative than last time.
Yeah,
It's because we
that,
didn't sleep.
that Zelda thing taught me a lot. Where it's like, oh, that ended up being like my favorite game in forever,
Yeah.
and I shit all over it when it got revealed because it looked super boring. Yeah, maybe we'll watch E3.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll do something like that. It's
Um,
fun to do. It's fun to hang out. It'll be more of us just hanging out and watching it together rather than like probably like, listening to everything and whatever.
There's lots of stuff we want to do, even like movie tracks and stuff, hanging out and watching stuff with people. But like, there's so much shit going on right now. I can't wait to tell everybody about what's happening.
Oh, we'll
I know.
definitely be negative in a joking around sense.
Oh yeah. I mean, they're gonna show Days Gone, so I'm gonna laugh. Days Gone is just nothing but trash always. Uh, the company I work for recently got the Capcom license for some merchandise, specifically pins. The older games they've created weren't in anything they sent. Yeah, Capcom did a weird thing where it kind of turned its back on all of its 90s IP, and it really only held on to like even like Mega Man's basically gone. I know they're making a new one, but for years they didn't give it any attention. They're really just holding on to like Street Fighter, Devil May Cry, a couple other things. I really like the rumor is that that game deep down wasn't canceled. So I really hope that that's still a thing because it looked super cool.
Yeah, deep down. I forgot that was even a thing.
Yeah, it was like their follow up to Dragon's Dogma, which is great. So, yeah, I don't know.
Oh shit. I think
Dan, I have gotten a
changed
portfolio
this.
review from you before, but I dropped off the map of freelance contacts since then. I'm trying to get back into freelance, but I don't know any companies I could send my portfolio to. Any suggestions? I give a lot of portfolio reviews. I don't remember specifically which one's yours. If you want to send it to me on Facebook, I can give you some suggestions based on what your work looks like now. So feel free to do that. But without seeing it, I can't really suggest companies. Do I think From Software's new game will be shown? Yes, I do think it'll be shown because they typically they make games so fast. Like Bloodborne got shown and released within like 2 years.
Yeah, it's true. That
It
was a
it looked
really
like
fast turnaround.
same thing with Dark Souls 3. It looked like it's going to be Tenchu or something like Tenchu, so I don't know. But yeah.
As far as deep down goes, it's like they pretty much just need to like like release that game on E3.
Yeah, I like
It's been so long.
it's been forever.
Like who cares?
And apparently it's still not canceled. What do you think will happen with Xbox? I have no interest. After Sea of Thieves kind of tanked and they canceled that Platinum Games Dragon thing, there's nothing on their platform I really care about.
You were looking forward to the dragon thing?
No, I'm just saying it was the only interesting thing they had that wasn't third person shooter.
The
It
one
was
with
like
the guy in the headphones?
the Platinum Games one.
Isn't that? The headphones guy?
I have no idea.
Because that looked like garbage to
It
me.
didn't look good. It just looked like something that wasn't the same thing over and over again. Same thing with Sea of Thieves, but then Sea of Thieves isn't great. So it's like
Hmm.
I don't really I'm kind of checked out of Xbox.
Yeah, I hope that they keep doing their games as a service thing. I think that's really smart. It's a
Yeah,
cool way of doing it, or games as a service. Is that right? Is that what I'm thinking of? The thing where they like have the like cool backwards compatibility, but like keeping things um like in their like Xbox world, like split between Microsoft and stuff, and like
oh
across
sure,
their consoles. I guess I don't
right.
mean games as a service. I mean more like their like initiative to make everything accessible,
Right.
and like their whole, I don't know, like it seems they're gonna go in like the Steam direction ish, but not really. Like I don't know what it is.
I'm assuming the Xbox, the next one won't be an Xbox. I think it'll be like a Roku. And you like stream games from your Xbox account on your computer to your TV.
You think it's gonna be like a Roku?
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be like Napster.
How so?
I'm just joking. I
Oh.
just thought Roku was a funny example.
Or like what would it be? Because I don't have TV.
Oh, I don't know.
Like Apple TV.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I think it's going to be a streaming thing that goes from your computer to your TV.
It's gonna be like a real player
Yes.
that streams all your Metallica songs directly to your TV.
It's going to be Windows Media Player.
Hmm.
It's going to be great.
It's gonna be
Will you
Winamp,
get
and it's gonna have dope
sweaty?
skins.
Will you get sweaty reading Volume 1 and 2 of Steve? Yes.
Yeah,
Book
there's
2
so many fights
specifically.
in two.
There's some good sweat in book 2.
Some good scuffles. They get me hot.
Scuffle.
Yeah, if a scuffle starts,
If we ever make a card game, like if we ever had like a magic type thing, I would make it like canon that you have to call the combat scuffles.
what you mean? My 2D beat 'em up game, Scuffle and Sweat.
Yeah, there you go. Instead of dueling somebody, it has to be called a scuffle.
For sure. I'm feeling pretty good about this page. It's
Yeah,
so
man.
stupid.
It's pretty great.
It's as stupid as I wanted it to be. And all that's left is the super easy Ninja Turtles panel at the
Hmm.
bottom. Oh,
It's coming.
why do comics take so long? Why? Why is it such a long fucking process? Where is this one? Oh, I think that's why.
Do you want to keep going or call it?
I'm gonna call it, but I'm trying to get the last panel in view, just so I
Sure.
can look at it. There it is. So there it is with the last panel. I also gotta fix Char's eyes. They're fucked up. But other than that, feeling pretty good. Yeah. There you go.
All right.
Yeah,
Thanks for
thanks
hanging out,
everybody for
everybody.
coming.
Fun stream today. It was
Zoom in.
good.
I'm zooming in so you can take a look.
We'll be back. I don't know. Probably. I guess next week. We're pretty busy. Some crazy stuff's going on.
Yep. Here's the page one last time. Dum. Scrolling down. Here's the Char, Ninja Turtles space battle scene. And then the last one is going to just be Raph and Leo talking about if they can trust him. It's going to be a bummer to cover this up with word bubbles, but
I know. Well,
that's
we
the
didn't
way
do
it
it on the
goes.
first page.
No, I'm going to leave them like this and then also do the word bubbles and everything.
Cool.
I've just been waiting to keep these kind of like I want to
You
keep
know
them
what
like
this
this so
means?
that the story isn't there.
On the next stream, we get to plan out page 3 finally.
Oh, I know.
I can't wait.
Ben waiting that Bio Brewster armor.
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff is going to come into play.
Can't wait for Raditz to interrupt the fight.
Yeah, I know. What's Raditz going to think about that fight? I think it violates space law.
I think it does too.
It's like, what kind of barriers have we crossed?
Mm-hmm. Space law clearly dictates that bio boosters can't be used inside the civilized zone.
Playing with man and machine. All right, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for all the
Yeah.
subs. We love you. And as always, if you want to help support us, you can,
Ricardo, thank you. You just pre-ordered both books.
Oh,
Thanks.
thank you very much, Ricardo, which is what I was going to bring up. If you want to help support us directly, you can go to stevelichman.com or acceptablecomics.com, and you can read a preview of our 2 books and also pre-order them. Volume 2 sold out. We have sets of Volume 1 and 2 if you haven't checked them out at all, and those are available. They'll be shipping out very, very soon. Everything's leaving the China now-ish, couple days. So, yeah. Thank you very much. We love you. Have a good day.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.